Yo, we here, we here, we here. I ain't been on YouTube in a minute. Right here on stream, y'all. You see my picture? What I got up here? Oh, old school picture. But shout out to the people coming in, man. Just got a little rant going, man. When it come down to it, in all honesty, I've been trolling both sides, Democrats and Republicans. But at the same time, man, I'm ready for this to be over because at the end of the day, what's really going on with this? Like, we having all this fighting over Democrats, having all this fighting over Republicans, and at the end of the day, where the money at? You know, what Cuban Gooding Jr. say on Jerry Maguire, show me the money. Ain't nobody seeing no money. They, I was looking at Vance. He was doing a little town hall in Philly, talking junk about, well, dig, baby, dig what? Energy for what? When it come down to it, we need money. I can't go buy groceries if I ain't got no money. If I ain't getting no raise at my job, I can't do extra. I just went to Hilton Head. Dude, the food alone cost me $1,000. Just the food alone cost me 1,000. I plan on taking a trip. I don't even know what I'm taking now. Plan on taking a trip to Dallas for Thanksgiving. You know what I'm saying? What's going on, AP? Man, I dropped the link if you want to jump on. But I plan on going to Dallas for Thanksgiving. You know the crazy part is the tickets are $400. When you got a family, it ain't no one person going. And the actual tickets like 390 or 380 something, but still $400. Country hustle was going on. So I literally have to pay for 4 tickets. My two older kids, they grown, they get their own tickets. But my two young, they 13. I got twin boys. All it's been on my channel a long time. You know I got twins. They 13. Plus my wife, me, that's what I'm saying. 4 tickets, $400 a pop. Dog, I'm broke. No, 16 for the tickets right there. And then once again for food, even though I'm be there with family, the family house mostly. But you know what happened when you go out of town? You gotta eat local. You gotta go to them hot spots. Texas is known for barbecue. I've always been out to Texas and had some of the best barbecue from between there and Arkansas. Memphis barbecue was pretty good. North Carolina, even Georgia, all of them, everybody got decent spots. Crafty, what's going on with you? Everybody got decent spots. Yeah, you're right. So I figure, as far as the food with me going out there, because the kids gonna be mostly eating at the cousins and stuff. We might go out to eat once or twice, maybe even 3 times. So 1,600 for the flight to go out there. Then I'm looking at, because if I drive, I'm not trying to drive Thanksgiving, then drive back that Sunday and try to make it back for that Monday to go to work. I'm listening to what's going on. So I'm not doing all that. So basically, oh yeah, y'all hit that like button too. I'm a YouTuber. So basically, you got 1,000 for food, 16 for the flight. That's 26. Then I got to rent a car when I go out there. So looking at about 600 on the low end for a car. That's 32. Oh yeah, hotel. Frugal Mama, what's going on? So even if I get a hotel, I got to get a hotel if I go to Dallas for even though the family, they had already been planning this. We didn't have no intentions on going because me and my wife, we went to Jamaica. We were supposed to be going to Costa Rica, but we always forget to do our tickets in September or some before because the rainy season in the fall. the storms and stuff happen now. All these hurricanes, tornadoes, blah, blah, blah. So this happened around this time. 10 was going on, fish keeper. So basically, if I get transportation, I put the six in there, so that's already 32 right there. That's $3,200 for me, my wife, and my two boys to go to Texas. And that goes for the 32 only includes the flight, food, and a car. Then you figure the hotel. I'm not bougie, but I don't stay at roach coaches. I don't stay like back in the day. I have stayed at a Motel 6 before, and I stayed at some good Motel 6. Um, what is it? Howard Johnson. They call them Hojos. If you truck drivers, all that talk. Hojos, Howard Johnson, uh, motels and hotels. They got the little back mom and pop places that they kind of like an Airbnb. So I stayed at them before, but when I go with my family, I want to go somewhere that's safe and clean. So I typically try to look for 3-star hotels or above, and they normally range in a price of $200. Now, I done stayed at some good La Quintas, La Quinta, however y'all pronounce it. And what's going on? Young Drip in the house. And hit the like button, y'all coming in. But the crazy part is, we're gonna be down there for about 4 days. So that's 800. So eight on to that 32, that's $4,000. $4,000 just going a trip to Texas. When we went to Jamaica, that trip was 23 for the hotel, eight for the flight. So did that. Then just went to what's called Hilton because the boys didn't go nowhere for the summer. And like I told my wife, I'm not, giving uh rewarding them for bad behavior. Like they didn't do so good in school. So that's why they had to stay home for the summer. They always go to Jamaica. Ever since them boys in elementary school, they don't been to Jamaica. One year their cousin got married, so they went to Barbados, not Barbados. Where did she get married at? One of them little islands. Not Barbados. Not Trinidad. Not dang what? Um, no, I think it was Barbados. Now that I think about it, yeah, it was Barbados. So yeah, it do get expensive, but at the same time, when it come down to it, you know, it's a lot dealing with, you know, um, my bad. It's one of them kids, man, calling me. What's going on, Doc? Doc in the building. Doc Dunbar, what's going on? So when it come down to it, man, like I said, it's very expensive, having a family. You got to make the money. So sometimes it's sacrifices. And I still might go at the last minute, but it's just a lot of money to be spent. And that's not even including your regular expenses that you spend every month. You got to plan, you got to save for it. Most people have savings. You don't want to dip into your savings to go have fun all the time. That's about being more responsible. Like I said, even with this election at hand, um, no matter who gets in office, you gonna feel it. Whether it be you not getting a raise, taxes going up, because let's believe, whoever gets in office, a Democrat or Republican, be known, Joe Biden done spent the crap out of some money with this migrant thing. The doggone FEMA didn't have no money to give the people. You got two major issues that just happened. One in Asheville, where to me, some tinfoil hat talking about, mining up there happened. And then you got Florida, which was like, casualty, which actually probably happened and just flew past. Honestly, if that storm would have buckled back and went up there to North Carolina and hit Asheville again, dog, I don't think they would have been able to take it. So, I mean, honestly, it was by the grace of God it did what it did. But, people are struggling. And, like I was telling my wife, I'm still thinking about doing the trip. I'm just on the fence about it because spending all this money to raw what's going on. And you don't know what's to come in the future. That's the crazy part about that is spend all this money, then you don't know what's to come in the future. When it comes down to it, I can spend this money and then I'm in the process too. I'm looking at getting me a truck. One of my coworkers keep nudging at me, man. He want me to buy his truck. I mean, he got a decent truck and I could make some money. And the crazy part is I'm thinking about getting out the trucking altogether, man. I'm honestly, I've been doing home improvement on the side for a minute. You know, finishing up my business license for a bit. I had EIN for a minute with it, but never really been pushing it. Filed on my taxes once or twice, but you know, the money isn't really there to do it full time. So, that I make decent money. I ain't saying I'm rich, I ain't saying I'm poor, but I do pretty well for myself. My wife, she has a decent job, you know. But when it comes down to it, the numbers, yeah, it's a box truck. Yeah, he has a box truck. Um and he's giving me a good deal on it. Box truck, it's a '07. Give it to me for $14,000. Nothing wrong with the box truck. He drives his box truck to work every day. Nothing really wrong with it. He just want to get out the business because he want to do something else. And like I'm telling him, I'm trying to get out the business, but at the same time, I know with me driving trucks, I'm a good worker. I always get good jobs. I always make decent money driving trucks. Going into this is gonna be a new experience for me because I'm gonna have to depend like I used to when I used to do promotion, more reliable on the customers and stuff. My word of mouth speaks for itself. I get a lot of jobs, and I already know I got one full time customer, which would be one of my business partners, who buys a lot of houses, and we work together a lot on stuff. So that's one of my customers that I work. Yeah, no death, nope, no death, dog. Those trucks are crazy. No death, nope. But yeah, man, no depth truck. It's a '07. Pretty good truck too, man. Like I said, don't really got no issues with it. But the only, big thing about it is I'm to the point where I'm up and down with driving trucks still. You know, on one end, I still like driving trucks. I'm good with it. On the other end, sometimes you got the headaches. Yeah. And so I know with that truck, me trying to let this doggone truck driver over him. He don't want to get over him. But yeah, when it come down to it, man, I know I can make the money. I know I can make the money back with that truck and some. And like I said, I can get at least about a good maybe 10 years out of that truck. Like I said, he keeps the truck good. The dude always modifying things and fixing things. Every time I see the guy, anytime something wrong with his truck, preventative maintenance is always a thing. Fixing his brakes, he do a lot of stuff firsthand himself, and whatever he can't do, he then turn around and take it to places. I'm always talking. It's an older guy, pretty cool guy. I've been talking with for a minute at my job. Real smart guy, older guy. He's actually doing what I used to do. I used to do. Okay, for you from the Philippines. Okay, 'cause I know I ain't never seen your channel before. There go grandma in the house. What's going on? Y'all check out each other channels. Okay. Yeah, but when it come down to it, man, it's pretty cool guy. He's doing non-emergency, where you non-emergency transportation. I had my own non-emergency transportation business, and I used to take dialysis patients back and forth to their appointments for dialysis. I took elderly people back and forth to the doctor, women that was prenatal care, child. You had your kids and you didn't have a way to the doctor. Medicare and Medicaid paid for that. It was a pretty lucrative business. I expressed to him about going through getting a contract with that company I was with because they pay pretty decent. And, it according to the drop offs and the pickups, how you make your money. But overall, me and the dude that we ran the business with, we kind of kept bumping heads. And that's the thing when you do business with somebody, it comes to a point where it's like as men we call it a peeing contest, and whose ego is bigger to the point where you're gonna try to make things go your way, and technically that's bad business. I'll hear you out. We'll make a rational decision between both of us, working together for the greater good. But in the end, I can't do it. Blood files going on. I gotta check out your channel. Check out the ghost report that you had. I know I seen when y'all anniversary, how y'all went out that night and celebrate your anniversary in the same place. But when it come down to it, man, with business and getting into it, a lot of people think owning your own company is, man. When you own your own company, you work harder. Like when I started that transportation business, I was literally doing almost 18 hours. And me driving trucks, I know that that's irresponsible. And when I say 18 hours, it wasn't 18 hours of straight driving. It was, the recommended. I did about 11 hours driving, but paperwork, man, I had to process all my drops and pickups that night, send whatever I couldn't take back, and they were rationalized to other companies. But when it came down to it, I worked a lot. Like I didn't start catching no break till probably going into what the uh probably fifth month of us owning the business. That's when I started slowing down because you know I started off single driver, had another driver come in, had another driver come in, and we was getting on to our third driver, which was making it more easy, which made me be the fourth, or I could be the swing driver. Like people think that starting your own business is easy. Man, it's hard work. Unless you selling products where they can sell themselves and you have the clientele, like even that, doing the process with if you're mailing the stuff yourself, Facebook, what's it the automations and all that stuff of Amazon, not Facebook, Amazon automation, where you ship it to a warehouse and they sell that stuff for you, but it comes with a loss because look, if Amazon doing it, they're taking like 40% of your money or 50% of you. I think they take 50, you get 40 or 60-40. It's a 60-40 split. Because you gotta look at this. Even though you buy the product, Amazon is housing your stuff, Amazon is shipping your stuff, and then Amazon know where you get your stuff from. So at any given time, when your products are doing good, they'll have an Amazon choice pick where they're having the same product from the same place that you buy. And if you don't have loyal customers that when Amazon go down by $2 to $5, that they will stick it out with you, your customer base is gone. So a lot of times you got good and bad with messing with corporations like that, doing these wholesalers and stuff. Amazon also has like a shopper thing to where you can actually go in the stores that sell shoes, like wholesales and outlets, scan the barcode on the shoe, See how much that shoe is selling online, and if they sell a lot, you can get the whole stock of them. I'm talking about that just shoes. You got everything from toilet tissue. You got things like candy, but these where you sell them yourself. Amazon sends you the order and you fulfill the order. That's how you make majority of your money back by shipping yourself. But that is tedious. It takes a lot of work. It takes patience. It takes you actually being able to catch these orders and ship them off. Who's doing that? You know. And like I said, getting back into the State of the Union, like a lot of people don't have raises. A lot of people not getting a lot of money. I mean, groceries are expensive, dude. I remember when me and my wife used to spend $600, no, $500 on groceries. No, it was 600. I remember me and my wife was spending $600 on groceries with my two older kids and my twins, my two younger kids, and me and my wife. So it was six of us, and we were spending 600. We thought that was a lot because we were spending 600. Dude, I can tell you, Christmas time when my kids was home, I think last year I spent in 2 weeks $1,500 minus. I did take, I think three. If you take 300, I think 300 out of that because I bought $100 cooler, a big old igloo cooler with wheels, a handle, and all that. And I bought a couple of sweaters and t-shirts. But other than that, you had $1,200 going to strictly food and napkins, toilet tissue. Dude, it's crazy. Like, groceries are so expensive. That was just for 2 weeks, because that's when the kids be out for the winter break. So we bought groceries that Thursday. My wife bought groceries that Thursday. She bought hold on. Well, it was me. I started it first. That Wednesday I bought food. I spent I think 300 and some dollars. She spent two something. Then I turned around and spent another five something that Sunday, because that's when I bought the cooler. So I bought the cooler, which was $100. I wanted to grill, so I got some other stuff because like I think that was the Christmas I grilled for Christmas, so I had to buy the food for Christmas. You know, when you gotta buy Christmas food, so there you go. So I think that came up to like 550, 650 something that time minus the cooler was like 550. I'm talking about in all, dude, $1,500 just for that week, just that week between that Wednesday to that next Wednesday was $1,500, and I'm like, man, this gonna last us a minute. Nope. So like, even getting a raise at your job. My job don't really give raises like that. They prefer to kind of make the employees do more work to get raises. So you can pick up an extra shift, you can add extra loads because some people like they get it's kind of, well, the way I was brought in as a contractor to make it was going on. So the way I was brought in was like a contractor. So I get paid salary, and then I get a percentage of whatever I deliver. So the more I deliver, the more money I make. And then I have a side hustle within the job, which they complain about it, but at the same time, like I told them, and I kind of bully my job a little bit, but don't tell them. But the way I bully them is I tell them, if you want me to stop this side hustle within the job using your truck, making money from you, is to give me more money. My friend, he's a director for his company. And when I explained to him what I did, he was saying that when it comes down to it, he was saying that, man, that's wrong. You can't do that with your job. I say, do what? He's like, you can't have a hustle inside the job using the job's truck, using their fuel, and going out of your way doing all this to make extra money. And all it is just hustling pallets. But Basically, like I expressed to him, I said, for one, my job, no, I do it. They don't like it, but at the same time, they don't want to give me a raise. So I told them the other alternative and giving me more money is to let me do my side job. I'm not going out of my way. I'm not burning any fuel because the place that I take these items to, they're along my route, and I might have to go out of my route to come back. Might be towards them, but other than that, it's not going out of my route. I'm not going 30 minutes, an hour. It's always like it might be a 10-minute, 5-minute difference going out to do that and then be done. I complete my routes all the time. I don't really bring routes back compared to most drivers, and their things at work. I am a generally a productive employee. I had two incidents at this job, but other than that, my record is good. I mean, one incident I could have prevented, um, and the other incident it was a speeding ticket and I got an accident. But at the same time, you know, those are nothing because the accident it wasn't really my fault, but it was my fault because I touched my phone. But other than that, that they knew it wasn't my fault because the guy stopped short in front of me. I'm in a box truck. If I hit the brakes, if somebody say they're going 25 miles an hour and hit their brakes, I can't go the same 25. I gotta go 15. Or I gotta go 10 because the force with me stopping is greater than a car. So it takes me longer to stop versus a actual car. What's going on, Ray? So when it comes down to it, like I said, besides that, I'm pretty good. And you be like, oh man, you got an accident, you this and that shit. I'm gonna tell y'all, this is my job. So we got a dude up there. He the he the king of accidents. So for one, first week getting this job, this dude get his truck stuck off in the creek or whatever, I forgot it was, and he messed up the axle at the bottom. It cost the company $1,200 to tow his truck from North Georgia back down to our warehouse. That's number one. Despite all the little issues of not being able to load his truck right, messing up freight, they have to pay for damaged freight. That's another one. Then this guy actually forklift, like, this is the main reason why everybody wear their vests now at work, which we should have been doing this before, was because this smart guy ends up backing the forklift into a guy, and everybody tried to play it off like he didn't do it, or the guy walked in. I'm literally sitting there watching the guy because I backed up and I started going forward towards where they was at. Somebody called the old man to walk, and he's walking behind the forklift. First mistake on him, but when you're on a forklift, it's your job, the same as in a vehicle, it's your job to check your peripheral, check your area before you back up, before you go straight. Watch what you're doing, just like you're in the car. This guy goes and hit this man, boom, mess up his ankle. Now this guy's out. He was an older guy. He was like, I think about 70 something anyway. So now he just sit at home and get a check every day. Lucky him. And third, I mean, what, fourth, fifth, whatever, he hits a police officer. Hits a police officer, and then, my bad, he hits the police officer's car, drives away. I guess he made a delivery, then came back. And when the police was like, you hit my car and you came back, he was like, you should have never been in the way. He tells the police officer, you can't park in the middle of the street. He's a cop, but he said he can't park there, so it make it right. So crazy part is got locked up for that, let him out. What's the new countless thing he did? I think he hit somebody car again. Then basically with trucks, they have an issue with swinging out. So your tail end of your bumper when you swing, and if you don't know how to rationalize your angles when you turn wide so you won't hit nobody else's vehicle, or turn sharp when you so you know what I'm saying, ride a curve so you won't hit another car in the turning lane making a right hand turn. He hit that. But I mean, say the least, not him. There's other guys. There's one guy, he's got 5 speeding tickets. He done called me, asked me for another insurance company. He got dropped from that. There's guys who done got in an accident after accident after accident, and they got dropped from their insurance. So, like I said, I'm not the worst. And then when it comes down to it, my route is one of the most farther routes too, and a lot of people don't like doing it because it's farther out. But I like to drive. Plus, I'm out there in UGA city, and it's pretty cool. But like I said, man, going back into it, it don't matter who in office, man. You better be ready, like, dude. And one of the things, I'm about to leave my job too, cause I was, looking at like the boomers, the Gen Xers, and all these generational people. They love having 20, 30 years at a job. That was good back in the day, but nowadays, 20, 30 years at a job don't mean nothing, but you're not making the money you're supposed to get. Because I was looking at a research and it made sense. If you switch jobs, if your job doesn't give the raises like they should, you should switch your job every 3 to 5 years. And because you keep up with inflation, you switch your job every 3 to 5 years. When you get to a new job, yeah, they're gonna start you off for decent pay, but they're gonna have to bump you up with salary as time go on. And when it comes down to it, you won't have that problem. Tenure means nothing to a company. You can be at a company for 30 years. There's people, you seen the one where the guy was at Burger King, never missed a day of work, always was on time, everything, work when he had to work, sometime work extra. I think he was at Burger King, what, 30 years? And the guy got a bag or something. I think a Burger King bag. The guy who was at Circle K for 20 years got a text, no, got an email from the president of Circle K, like, congratulations. I promise you, if I be at a job for 20 years and I'm not in the high 150 or even be in a manager position, I'm stupid. I should have been left that job. There's no way I'm at a job for over 20 years and haven't climbed the ladder, or the assets as far as money is structured the same. If you've been at your job for 20 years and you started off at $18 or $60,000 salary, and within 20 years you just not hitting 100,000, come on, man. Come 20 years, you only made $40,000. No, no. You still in manager, still ain't got to the manager position. Come on, like, what are we doing? That's the whole reason why I say, man, I gotta leave this job. Like my last job, I say my career job when I was doing the moving of furniture, man, it paid good, and you didn't really move up in the company. You just made more money. That job, I got the most money at that job. Like, but it's hard on the body. I had to rationalize that when I got older. The time with the kids and all that. Man, it's gonna be hard on the body. But at the same time, the job paid. So I just kept driving because I got that through when I was moving furniture, started driving, making good money. You know what I'm saying? Went on with that, start getting into home improvement stuff, pretty good with my hand, you know. And YouTube University helps as well, to the point where the one thing an old man once told me, if you got a truck, you will always have some money. At one point, I had three pickup trucks. I was making good money. The ones that I didn't drive, I rented them out. So that's the thing. Like a lot, I say in this day and age, if you're a man, you should be looking at getting a pickup truck. You are always, when I say always, you will always have it to the point where you're able to pick up somebody's furniture, pick up a washer and dryer. You know how many people need um you know how many people need TVs dropped off? Like, come on. You know how many people need TVs dropped off at Best Buy? You know how many people just in general just need stuff dropped off? Like, come on. Like all the time. My friend, the funny part about it is, man, this dude, he ended up telling me that he gonna get a pickup truck, and I said, cool. He said, I'm gonna start doing lawn care, this and that. I said, all right, cool. Then this fool listened to his old lady and ended up buying him a car. He ended up buying a Challenger. He ended up buying a Challenger, a 2021 Challenger. And I was like, dude, you stupid. And he was like, nah, man, I'm telling you, man, it's a good deal. This is a good car. Man, I got a deal. And it was an RT. I'm talking about a nice car. Dude, I like the car. I would drive the car. But I told him, if you're going to pay a note, buy something you want. And this is what you want, cool. But personally, I would have got a pickup truck. Soon as he got that pickup truck, you know what happened? That next week, that joker told me, hey man, can you can you drop this off for me? I said, drop what off? Can you drop this and put the link in the chat. He's like, can you drop this grill off for me at my girl house? I'm like, what? Yeah, man, can you drop the grill off for me at my girl house? And I'm like, dude, if you would have had a pickup truck, I wouldn't have had to do this. So I'm like, bro, I don't know what to tell these dudes, man. I'm like, dude, you literally could have just used your truck. Same thing happened. Sister had to move a sofa. He come calling me. And then I'm like, hold on. I'm like, bro, don't your brother got a truck? Why are you calling me? Brother don't want to do it. Brother don't want to use his truck. He bought the truck because his mama told him to get the truck. He should have been using the truck to make money. All that time, he's seeing me constantly making money, constantly doing stuff, and I'm charging everybody. His sister want me to do something for her, $50. You want me to go get a sofa from your friend's house, take it around the corner, less than 10 miles, $50. I could easily charge more than that. She family. If it came to anybody else, start $75. The start is $75. If I gotta go pick up something for you, starting at 75. Had a customer started off $75 just picking up a sofa. They told me, oh man, I got a sofa, a bed, something else they said. In the end, you know what happened? Told I had to get the trailer. I got a open trailer, which I got a closed and enclosed trailer too. I bought when I bought my pickup truck. So you know what I did with that? That's 150. Started anything on there, 150. Loaded up. Got to take another trip. That's another 150. 300 right there. 300 right there just for doing two runs right there. Like, dude, that's like I be telling you, like, yep, trash runs. My homeboy, he started off work for Amazon. So he was a manager at Kroger's and he wanted to make some extra money. He asked me about Amazon. One of my friends worked for Amazon. He do the Amazon delivery in the box truck. And sweet Amazon, all you doing is picking up. pallets of Amazon packages and taking them to the post office. This was before Amazon started running their own stuff. But they still have places that they, drop off to, and Amazon still need like other companies like the post office or somebody to help them with their packages. Cause a lot of the Amazon facilities, their drivers are quitting like crazy, or these companies shutting down because they're not making the money that they thought they was gonna make. Like Amazon will literally give you the money to back you to start your company. Like prime example, this one guy, he got 40 vans and he was doing an Amazon contract. He put, I think dude told me he put about 50,000 up front. He had got like anywhere from 3 to 5 people, and they put up 50,000 up front. Amazon gave them 40 used vans, no, 40 new vans, and they had to get a facility. They went and rented a place to park the vehicles, because basically when you go to Amazon, you load up at Amazon. Like they don't want this stuff out somewhere else. They want you to have your vehicles, come over there to them, load up, and then you're good to go. Or if you have a warehouse or some type of structure and stuff like that, cool. But they basically want you to have your truck, run it over there to them. They load that truck up, and then you out for that day to go deliver. You know, and so they end up doing that. Dude told me out of the 50,000 he put in, plus all the maintenance on the trucks, all the stuff getting fixed on the trucks, tires on the trucks, paying the employees, they probably cleared, I think, 150,000, and they thought it was gonna be like, you know, big money. Cause you had like this one lady, I don't know how she structured hers, because she made like $6 million, and she had a good amount of drivers too. I think she had about 30, I think she had about 30, 40 drivers, because she was doing it one at a time. But she did about 60. But the thing of it was, she had the employees where she was giving the money to. So they was helping her make money because she was constantly giving them more money. You know how many companies don't give money to their employees, and they want their employees to be the best employees, the top employees ever? It don't work like that. You can't sit here and want me to be the best and you're not giving me top notch money. It don't work like that. Like a lot of these companies do that. Man, I can't tell you how many times I done dealt with companies that try to hire me or I work for, and they want the best results with minimum money. No, that's not gonna happen. I deal with that with a lot of companies I work with, and I be upfront and tell them. The company I'm with now, the guy was telling me that I'm different because I speak my piece, and I tell him this is a job. You know what this job is not? My life. And I tell him, if you were to fire me, guess what? I can go get another job, because majority like you, when you hired me, you did not call my last company, because if they called my last company, they would have found out I sued my last company for like 15,000, I think, no, $10,000. Sued my last job for $10,000 because they was playing with my money. And then this company right here, they did that starting off. So I gave them fair warning like I did my other job. I told them about it. They straightened it out. But the bad part was the money that they, messed up on my check, they ended up putting it on one of my checks, so they won't have to pay the taxes for writing me out a check. And I end up having to take majority of that money that was owed to me, paid out the taxes, because I got like one check was like $4,500. I got screwed on that. But like I say, I don't sit here, man, and like I do the home improvement stuff on the side. I do delivery with my truck. Like I don't let these companies control me, man. Like, nah, I'm not finna be worried about my job. I'm not finna be around here begging for my job back. I'm not crying. Dude, drivers are in demand. I got a truck, I got side hustles, I got to do it right now. Every time I like the dude that worked for Amazon, I said, this dude literally begs me to try to come work for him because I'm a good worker. Me and him worked at a job before, and so I would always help him with his companies and stuff like that. Pretty cool guy, you know. Used to be a police officer, owned his own business before. Really top notch guy, pretty cool. So, you know, if you need any help, I just give him a hand. You know, hey Rashid, man, one of the drivers call out, man, I need you to help me with this. One time I worked for him for the whole week. You know, I just called out my job, told him, you know, I had to take emergency, something happened in the family. Worked with this guy the whole week. Paid me more than my job paid me. But at the same time, you know, I lost time with my kids, and that's the number one reason why I work local. I can't get that time back, you know, if I lose with my kids. That's the main reason. Other than that, dude, I would be out of town making hella money. I get paid more money driving driving out of town than driving local. Locally, I get paid pretty good, but driving out of town, that's where I get all my money. Be gone for month and a half, 2 months. Nah, I did that with my older kids, and it worked out. They were much older, and they already had the discipline. So my younger kids, I had to break them. That's why I was like, man, I can't be out of town. I want to spend so much time with them. Like I don't want them to have no excuses. And then on top of that, like I still get money, but at the same time, I want my kids to know, man, hey, daddy was here. I put in the work. You know, I ain't raising no little thugs, no little hell raisers. And, you know, shout out to Two Raw. Two Raw was talking about this morning on his channel, you know, where he had in the chat up here, Two Raw in the building. Two Raw right here, Two Raw TV Uncut. So Two Raw was talking about how the majority of these Hellraisers are produced by these millennial women and men. And you know, understanding that the women do have the kids, but as a man, it's still your responsibility to, you know, deal with your kid accordingly. So if your kid out here, you know, being a nuisance, you know, raising hell with the grandmas of the community, it's your job as the father to, you know, put some discipline. Like my little cousin, I wasn't his daddy, but hey, he did wrong. He got in trouble. You know, I chump him off. You know, hit him up sometime because he got older. I wasn't finna whoop no 16-year-old boy. I'm gonna start punching on him. Like I told my wife, my kid's 13. Man, one of my sons, he five. They about the same height, about 5'6", 5'7". I'm like, nah, you get knocked out, man. You gonna get punched up. Ain't no more whooping, dude. Man, you almost standing toe to toe. Like, nah, that's unheard of. I'm gonna pull a belt on a dude the same height as me. That's like my friend I know. Man, her son, this dude the same age. Well, he be 14 now. This dude 6'2". What he about 210 pounds? He's 6'2". He already taller than me. He don't weigh more than me, but the dude is wide. He big. He should be playing ball. When I say this dude, when he was 12, he was wearing a size 13 in shoes. The same size I wear. I wear a 12 now. I'm like, nah, bro. Different. But at the same time, though, what two I was saying about, man, with the millennial generation, a lot of these kids, man, they bad from our generation. The Z's, the Alphas, man, these little hellraisers. He said between 16 to 23. I give them from 14 to 24, a 10-year gap. 14 to 24, man, that's a problem. That generation right there, that little gap, they ready to fight, they ready to shoot. What they saying, they crash out. You want to crash out. Dude, you ain't getting none of that time back. I see all y'all snitching on each other. You got no loyalty to your group, to your cliques. y'all fighting amongst each other. It's almost like it's no hope for them, which you know is hope for them, but it's a problem with them kids, man. They need a lot of help. They need a lot of guidance. And then a lot of times, just being upfront, the mothers wait till it's too late. Don't call your daddy when your son's slapping you and telling you you can't do nothing to him. I seen a video earlier. That boy Will on YouTube. That boy Will got a video of where this boy ran up on his mama, told his mama, "Man, I'm out here sliding in these streets. I'm out here this and I'm out here that." And the mama's like, "What you mean with all this? I ain't raised you like this." He's like, "Mama can't do nothing. You can't kick me out. I'm your son. You can't kick me out. Can't do nothing to me." The boy was going crazy. And I'm like, dude, all this, like, nah, my son can't be like that. If once he started talking to his mama like that, I jump. You see them videos when the kids be like, "Mama, shut up," and the daddy jump up, be like, "What?" Like it be going down. Like, man, I was watching this other video with Antoine. I'm gonna jump off of here too in a minute. So Antoine Daniels was was having a debate with this guy, Yaki. I think his name is Yaki Awaken. The other dude is named Yaki Awaken. I think his name is Ayaki Awaken. So the dude Ayaki was saying that if you ain't making 100,000 or you can't pay the woman all her bills, you don't need to be in a relationship. You ain't no real man. Everybody not making 100,000. Everybody can't pay all a woman's bills. You know, like all this, man. If you can't pay a woman's bill, you broke. I'm not paying for your submission. I'm not paying for your relationship because that's all most men are doing. You know, my thing is if you got the money and you can do it, cool. That's not all that caking and stuff. But if it's required before we even, have a foundation with each other, nah, we ain't doing that. Nah, we ain't doing that. We is not doing that. The foundation got to be set. Like I told my wife, when my wife didn't work for about a year or so, I paid all the bills, paid everything. You know, unfortunately, something happened, and I was like, nah, you gotta go back to work. But at the same time, hey, who is this? Hey, you gotta show your camera. I don't know who you is. If I don't see your face and throw your hands up, I'm not gonna let you up. You're like you about to troll. All right, I'm gonna bring you up now. Hold on. I'm trying to add you on. Why is not letting me? Okay, there you go. You up? Hello? Yeah, I can't hear you.
Yo, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah. This is 291 technology. 291 technology. Remember me?
Okay.
From a long
I remember your voice sound familiar.
You remember me from a long time back. I had been on here for a while. Been too busy working on a ride share project to get the ride share back what it was now when it first started.
Oh, okay.
Called Fair Co-op. Look into that. It's your
All
own
right.
business, and you got to do what you have to do to make your own business happen. We'll give you the tools, everything, and you pay the 100,000. You owe 60% of the company. You know what I mean? You have no middleman involved. You tell the investors what to do, and you're a driver yourself. So this will be pretty good for you in your area and try to make you happy. Interested? And send me an email. I'll give you all the tools. But anyway, let's get back to the topic and stuff. Not everybody has $100,000, but they can do what they can do for their woman. They do what they can do. You know what I mean? Black women need to
Yeah.
stop kicking us around and accept what we have to offer them and accept what we have to make the best of what we make it best of. We all supposed to be a team in this together as one, and that's it. One hand supposed to wash the other hand, and that's it. And that's what's causing a race to fail. To be honest with you, I mean, can you say this? Say I'm wrong or not or right?
Yeah, you're right. Because I mean, it affects the community when we try to put standards when we already in a high regard. Like prime example, Anton. Anton came from money. Anton has money, so he feel as if you're not on his level, you're not kind of so-called being a man or being this type of man. But when it comes down to it, every man is not like each other. Every relationship is not the same. They're all built different. I could be a man that makes $30,000 and me and my wife have a 50-50 relationship and we make the relationship work. You know,
Right.
$100,000 is not a foundational amount to say you a man. Like I don't get we have to put a number on it to say you not a man if you ain't making this type of money. That's unheard of. That's like saying like they were having a conversation that a woman body count don't work or a woman's kids. So if a woman has kids, which I married a woman with kids, but at the same time, would you ask me would I do it again? I'll tell you no, because and it does permeate on what the guys say that if you deal with a woman with kids, 10 times out of 10, those kids will not respect you to a degree and won't be there like your kids. And it's
Right,
true.
because that's coming from the genes of the father. That they
Yeah.
were born there, and you got to realize when the woman slept with that man before you, she made her choice.
Yep.
Women make their choices. Men don't get to make their choices in relationship. Who they want to be with, who they want to go with, and who they want to get with. Don't we be holding a woman hostage? We had to let the woman make the choice, and wherever she go for, let it be. You know what I mean, and move on.
Exactly.
Your little feelings may be hurt, but hey, it's better to know the truth than to go through emotions instead of shooting somebody and putting them in jail. And too many people in my city will get shot over women.
Yeah, man. It's a lot of times where men get drug into that too, man, and they ain't even really like these whole fights with these women. You'll have a dude go take up for a woman and turn around. She just put you in a situation that she caught herself up in, and then once you go to jail, she go get the next guy. I done seen situations where a guy go try to defend a woman's honor. He might get beat up, might get shot. Next thing you know, she with another guy doing the same thing about a month or two
Yup.
later. It's her attitude, the way she moves, and then the man he gets caught up like that. I mean, even situations when your own wife will put you in stuff like that. You know,
Cuz I seen situations when the dude don't get to go to jail. The dude gets killed right on site.
yep,
I seen those type of situations. I'm in Philadelphia where that shit goes on every damn day.
yeah, man, yeah,
So and I seen a lot of that type of stuff go down. As a lot of that type of stuff go down. Even sometimes nowadays, when you look at a certain woman and a dude gets mad, they're ready to fight you right on the street.
yeah,
And
and
instead of just letting the woman make the choice to mess with you or not, you know?
and it comes from an age of maturity, man, because you if you in your late 30s, 40s, 50s, there's no way you should be getting like off guard by somebody looking at your woman. There is
Right.
no way you should be having that issue. I mean, even as a teenager, you shouldn't be like that. But I can give it to the young and dumb to a certain extent. But when it comes down to it, some things we should be outgrowing. That's like I was having a conversation with somebody, not even just throwing AM up under the bus. Angry man. We was talking about him and Anton. Anton has done a great job pivoting situations that's going on in his life. Like when it come down to issues with, stuff that get him involved and it makes him look kind of unfair in the public eye and people don't like him. He do a good job of shifting and kind of getting his audience to grow with him being a different person, change him from being this obnoxious guy to actually coming in and trying to give the people more substance. AM is trying to do the same thing, but my thing that I look at him, dude, you're a man of age to where there's nothing wrong with a sweatshirt, but you need to be wearing a button-up shirt. Like, I mean, not even a suit shirt, but a golf shirt. Like this shirt that I got on is just a collar, three button-up golf
Right.
shirt, collar shirt, whatever. And you can still wear your baseball caps. That's not a significant look of being a thug. That's just a man that likes teams and he likes wearing his caps. Like your image, your gold chain should still be up there. I mean, that goes to a man of value. You're able to buy trinkets and stuff like that. But
Right.
his PR team, who's giving him they need to give him an image consultant kind of thing. You've uplifted the content, but you haven't uplifted the person. You know, and when it
Exactly.
comes,
Exactly.
it comes that to a lot of channels. Shout out to Prince Pierre. I'm on Prince Pierre channel most of the time. Prince Pierre has done a great job and his channel's starting to move now because he shifted from the Cowboys, which he was trying to do a sports channel, to actually doing history and going into politics. You know,
That's a
and that's
good channel when
sometimes
you
it's
can go into
sketchy.
politics.
Yeah, and he
I
works it. He
mean, you
does
just
it.
speak the truth and everything. You get everything out what you want to say, what you want to do about it, what you're getting the truth out on the people who are in power or in place. And I got deep topics like that, and I talk about it, but I don't try to get too much into it. I try to stay focused on the business and all that. You know what I'm saying? And I have three different channels that I use and stuff. I talk, and most of my channels is mostly about technology and different forms of
Mm,
technology on it, and what's being done with the technology to help us in the future and help build each other up. That's what I'm really into, you know. But the politics is great, and I'm glad he got a channel like that. More brothers, and I'm starting to see get channels like that. I've been paying attention to their channels.
yeah, and see when it comes down to it, it takes a lot for everybody to come in the game and get themselves to the point to where they can have some substance. And that's the thing. A lot of guys are having these channels with no substance. You're not seeing the growth. Even with the manosphere stuff, this should be right now with this election. What's going on? I think that's what's coming. But what's going on, Trust? But it should be more men kind of diverting themselves into politics, showing how because they try to throw this whole debate thing and the men not liking women, and it's showing that Kamala views in the way she's talking towards men is not connecting with them. And
No,
then
it's
on
not.
top of
And
that,
man, right, it's not connected to him. She's throwing us under the damn bus because nobody don't want to vote for your ass. Get the fuck
yep,
out of here.
and
Just
and,
face
and
it. We have the right, like anybody else, to vote and do what the hell we want to do. We're the ones that make this country. You ladies need to sit down and stuff like that and take it and deal with it. It's just pisses me off about people like that and them libs and on this fake. We supposed to just sit down, obey, like we still like we still getting hit like a slave with a bullwhip. Get the hell out of here. I put the motherfuckers in the school kill. Fuck out of here.
and the big thing about that is, man, like I said, a lot of guys should be taking that with the content that they're putting out and being able to do something with it. Dang, my phone is not charging. What the world?
I don't play
That's
that,
okay.
man. You know.
Yeah, I mean it's a big difference, and like I say, with a lot of people, this whole politics stuff, and they're just trying to get votes. Uh,
I'm gonna let
they're
you know
trying.
too. Same girl Kamala just went ahead put a bill out for election day to murder American citizens on site. It look like they're acting up.
Man,
And the
uh,
OD directed. I have the proof on that. I had
with
videos of
Kamala,
it.
with Kamala, man, she's been, been a nuisance to a lot of people for years, man. And just in California alone, this whole border issue she had going on, she could have been had situations at the border fixed, but she chose to, her and Joe Biden do what they
Yep.
want to do. I mean, even to the point of you got literally what 65 million, $1 billion been sending over there to Ukraine. You
They've been
have
pocketing that. I'm gonna let you know. I got video exposed that. You know what I mean? I got a video. I forgot. Stephen Gardner. They're exposed. They've been pocketing that money. Where that money been going? And the war, and the
yeah,
people over there still dying on that. They're pocketing that money. And I have. And you could go on. I'm gonna send you. I'm gonna send you something behind the thing too. Italians been talking, and the Italian mafia's been speaking the truth on it.
yeah,
They're pocketing that money and sending it to other leaders.
yeah. I mean, dog, with the UN, that's why Trump tried to get away from the UN because the UN they try to control what this that goes, who this and that. You see how much I think it was about 2 years ago. They had a couple of UN vehicles that got confiscated because they were driving out of the Congo with diamonds, gold, all kind of stuff, just raw,
Wow.
raw. And the truck,
They're
one of
balling.
those armor trucks, flipped over, and it had all that stuff in there. I mean, just in general in Africa, most of the countries in Africa are ruled by other countries. It's a guy that I watch, Walter Maya. Walter Maya, he's an African over there, and I forgot which country he's from, but I think it was Kenya he's from. But he was basically expressing how they can't even own the cocoa that they grow over there. So there's no Africans over there that actually sells chocolate because the cocoa that you grow, you got to sell it to the country. You got to sell it to the country that owns that country, and then they'll sell it back to you at a price to the point where it's like there's no reason for you to make it because your chocolate is going to be so expensive. That's the same reason why what is it? Switzerland supposed to be like the number one in chocolate because they're buying all their chocolate from Africa, the country that's growing it, then taking it, make the candy over there, or ship it back out, and doing what they do. Same thing. Prime example with Kenya. Um, I think Kenya used to sell leather to the Italians, and the Italians used to put genuine leather on there, and they had a big debate and a big argument. Have you noticed you haven't seen any leather that says Italian leather anymore? Everything says genuine leather. The Italian companies have to buy the leather from Africa, from Kenya somewhere, and then put genuine leather. They can't put Italian leather on there no more because it's not coming from Italy. It's coming from other countries, but because Italy was known for having the best leather, that's why they backed it. Crazy. Yeah, man. It's a lot of stories and a lot of craziness. But like I say, when it goes into a relationship, man, and the economy right now, like it's a lot going on and we just need help. A lot of people we worrying about who's gonna be the next president, and a lot of people don't even have jobs. A lot of people don't even know when their next meal is gonna be coming up. But we're so stuck on a woman president or the orange head man. Like I told him, give me something showing that Trump is gonna be worse off than he was before. Show me what Kamala's gonna do better than she's doing right now. I advised one of my friends, I said Kamala should throw Biden up under the bus because that's gonna be the last ditch effort this show. If she would have been did that, she would have got way more votes telling people that Biden ran the country for these last 4 years. I'm the vice president. My hands are tied. But she walked out on that ledge and tried to play it as, everything's good. It's looking horrible for her, man. Like I said, it's a lot of people that need stuff and they not getting it from the government or from, just local. Like, what are they gonna do? How they gonna make things work? Nobody's here to help a lot of these people. So
And
it's gonna be issues.
I sent something to you in the back chat that you need
Yeah, I
to
see it.
strongly investigate on election day. You know what I mean? They talk
Yeah.
about, you know what I mean? We got the comparison: unlimited immunity, or this bitch bringing the UN in on election day. Anyone that acts up and using the police against us on election day and killing American citizens. They made this into a battlefield, and they're gonna take it out where the blacks are at. You know. So look into that at a later. I mean, if not now, but later time, make your own video about it, or you have videos about it. When I be watching my stuff, I don't watch my stuff really on YouTube. I really watch Rumble. I really got a channel on Rumble where I put my real stuff in. Because every time I've been putting stuff in the truthful here on YouTube, they've been messing with my stuff left and right in the worst way. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, they're gonna
So
block it.
and they've been shadow banning me when I put truth videos. When I put tech videos out, they ain't shadow banned it. But they'll shadow ban these truth videos. I'll tell you that right now. And I'm going to break down to everybody. This is not the time for men to be dating, women to be dating and messing with each other because of all the traps that are out here with the election and the witchcraft and the smells and the spellbound and the spell mind bending that they're doing over and the mind fucking that they're doing out here in this election. Wait till this election over and see who is who. Then from there, make your move. But now it is not the time. And like I was reading a story too about a brother with a white girl. He got arrested in California, and next thing you know, put they put on tricks. I mean, he ain't do nothing. He didn't show his ID, and next thing you know, he got hit with a restriction of police. I forgot whatever it is, and they're not letting him out of jail. And they did that in front of his child. You know what I mean? With obstruction. You know what I mean? Of police. That's what it is. So this is not the time to be messing around out here. You know what I mean? Stay on your business, keep your business straight and everything. Don't get distracted away from the money and what you got to do. And pay attention to these policies. You know what I mean? And pay attention to this law enforcement. Pay attention to everything. But if you're a soldier in the Most High, you should be good.
Yep.
And that's the way I'm looking at things now. You know, I used to play out here. I used to do all this and all that. I don't do it no more. You know.
Yeah. Like now, man, I'm married, man, but I couldn't hold myself in this environment right now. It's too many games being played with the women, and like a lot of these guys, man, it's getting hard to even really deal with most men being friends, being loyal. Like they got a lot of female tendencies, man. Like
Oh yeah, yes they do, and stuff like that. You know what I mean? You feel the femininity and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And there's some things I have read about, I have seen, and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Married couples want to team up on men and stuff. You know what I mean? It's disgusting out here. You know what I mean? These men are not men at all. To be honest with you, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you got some real good ones. People who really take care of their families and all that are still men and men. My dad was a man of man, and the service and everything. Born and raised in Chester, Pennsylvania. So were my uncles. That were their old businesses and everything. You know what I'm saying? They were men of men. You know what I mean? And was in the service.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Including myself. You know what I'm saying? Being a man of men, taking care of what we should take care of as men and grow and learning from each other. You know what I mean? You go through the hard times, you go through the good times. You know what I mean? And it is what it is. But today, one parent home where the woman takes it out on the dude, kicks him out, puts him in jail, and puts him on the street, and they don't get to learn from the dad. This is what's happening. You know what I mean? They didn't want to get nasty with people like me who tell the damn truth. You know what I mean? You stink rotten ass bitches want to get nasty with me. You know what I mean? I'm not having it. You know what I'm saying? I'll send another female to you, have you handled. That's what I do.
like with what's his name? No, it's a lady. Her name is Love Dorsey. To me, Love Dorsey, she was kind of hitting it before Kevin came out. she been like hitting the women over the head since like 2011, 2012.
Send me her
She been
channel. I would like to join that.
Yeah, she's on Instagram. She not on YouTube.
Oh, she's on
She
IG. Yeah, I'm about to
yeah.
find
She have a platform. People put her stuff up over here, but she's mainly on IG. And you just type in Love Dorsey. And man, her channel, she always talk about accountability. She got a guy who she does a pod where they talk about healing on YouTube, and the name of the podcast is Relax and Take Notes. I think that's the name of it.
Right.
And that podcast, focus on healing and growing, you know, and her main message to a lot of women and men. She talked to the women because she's a woman, but with her being in the streets a lot, she kind of goes into the relationship with the dudes as well. She has
That's
she
good.
has a lot of YouTube where she breaks down. She has one-on-ones with people, and then she have like a night where she has a whole bunch of people come in on a Zoom meeting, and you pay to get on Zoom, and she does like counseling with them. So she's giving you the hard truth. It's not really more of like a professional counselor, but she's giving you life experiences and things
Right.
she went through, and other people that a lot of people need somebody on the outside looking in, you know, because a lot of time, like, and for instance, I say with some men, some women are actually not that bad.
Right.
You wrote a whole bunch of women off as being the same because one mess up, they all mess up, and that's not true. And then you have some women that actually are that real issue, but they can mask it real well to get what they want. I mean, we see in relationships how guys be married for 20, 30 years, and all of a sudden the wife, I want out. One of my great friends, man, I moved furniture with this guy. He was married to his wife for 23 years, and he didn't really go into detail that she cheated or anything. He just, called one of my boys, and we were talking, and he was like, "Man, I'm done." And we was like, "Done what? You done moving furniture?" He's like, "Nah, with this broad." He ended up getting out of his relationship, and I was like, "Man, all these years, dude." He didn't really want to go into detail. It had to be some lines of fidelity, because he always, every time I hear this guy, he would always do two things. He would talk about his kids, and he'll talk about how good his wife is. She treat him good. She cook for him. She this and she that. So
So
for her to
it
just
sounds something
go ahead,
infidelity to me. Because you know why it sound like infidelity, my man? And
that's what
stuff
I
like
said
she's
too.
cooking. I mean, she was cooking, cleaning for them and stuff like that. All of a sudden, she went out on the street, went out there, and some dude talks smooth her ear, and she made her choice.
Yeah, because I mean, like I said, and this guy not a slouch. This guy, he makes good money. He stays in shape. So it's not like she's trying to say, well, he got big and fat, or he don't come home and take care of the family. Like, he dropped, like, what was it, $4,000 on a cruise for like a week for them.
Wow,
And
that's a beautiful thing. And when you have a beautiful woman like that in your life, it makes you want to go out the way and do wonderful, perfect things. I mean, she firm with you, you firm with her.
TC,
That's it. You know.
yep. And so, like I said, it comes to a point, like with Love Dorsey, she focused more in on relationship goals, because I mean, let's face it, everybody has their point in life where they lose touch of reality. After being
Right.
in so many bad relationships, you just don't even want to go down that road no more. And then you have people that still want to give it a try, but they're scared. So then, like, some people, they just don't even want to go through it no more. Like, I have a friend right now, this guy, he's 50, and he's pretty much, he has, like, I think one chick he was dealing with, she was pretty good, but it's crazy. Like, she a good woman, but her younger years, she was telling him that she wanted to live life, But now she's older. She done came back, and it's almost like she dangled a carrot around him all these years, always coming around. They mess around, and now that she's older, she want to settle down, and it's crazy. Like she's not feeling it no. She's not feeling the light no more, and she's still good looking, but it's to the point where age is starting to catch up with her. Now she wants to settle down. And he's like, why settle at 50 with me when we could have been selling in our 30s? What's going on, Bruce? And, it's vice versa on both ends because I know women that are like that, they get the short end of the stick from a man. All these years, this man been, playing the field, and all of a sudden he
Right.
want to, get kicked down. And, it goes on both sides. And she
And it
breaks
does
that
go on both
down.
sides. Absolutely, absolutely. What
Yeah,
I feel
and look,
about the way I feel about this, if y'all grow old together and in phase stuff, you might as well just go ahead and complete the whole package. Because what's out here is a bunch of nonsense and bull crap. And if you're in your 50s trying to mess with somebody 21 and 22, it's not going to work. Or most likely, one of them young boys is going to waste you and put a bunch of bullet holes in you. So
yeah,
just go right ahead, stick with what you know, and stay in your lane. That's all I got to say. Is stuff out here and stuff like that, and the dating game sucks. And I advise anyone, if you have somebody that's loyal to you, keep that loyal person around you as much as you can. Because what's coming out here in 2005, whew, you don't even want to know.
yeah. And then, like I even said with the presidency, I just more or less, I just didn't like time after time they tried to ride this wave of men not liking women. But when it came down to it, when people stuck to the reasons why they wasn't voting for Kamala, just let it be. Like I said, she should appeal to those voters that didn't want that were undecided because some people, if they really want to change, like I even told my friend, I said if Kamala would have threw Joe up under the bus and said Joe Biden controlled everything for 4 years, I didn't do anything but supported him. So now that I'm running for president, give me a chance. I would have considered that to a degree if all this other rhetoric didn't
She
come
ran
out.
it.
Wisconsin
She,
threw her up under the bus big time. Like it was already bad that the way she was handling things, but Obama threw her up under the bus so bad by coming at black men. I was like, come on, man, Obama for real? And then I'm like, this whole misogyny and men this, and when they say, well, you don't have a policy, oh, you just not vote for her because she a woman. I told my friend, I said, you ought to be ashamed of yourself for even saying that as a man because you don't want to vote for Trump because he's the orange haired man. I say, that's what you said, right? I said, that's the same thing Kamala's saying about men. They don't want to vote for her because she's a woman. I was like, dude, you can't use one diss for your elect and then come back and reverse and say, well, what I'm saying is not the same thing you're saying. Like, come on, this what they call it? Dirty macking. This dirty macking stuff get old over time, man.
nah,
And like I
Waco,
said,
Waco
go ahead.
is emotional politics. Look what emotional
Yeah,
politics are right now. Guess Guess what? Emotional politics. She's already the vice president. You already see what her person is. She says she's not going to do nothing extra and nothing more. You know what I mean? You're going to get a
yeah.
lot
She's
worse than that. And I'm going to let you know the country's going to shut down under her, too. You know what I mean? She got all those evil entities on her side. The elites will her in, and she's just a puppet. That's all it is. Donald Trump refused to be a puppet. That's why he didn't want to deal with the UN. And I mean, I'm not fond of either one, but I had to speak the truth and let the cards lay where they meant. You know what I mean? And you
exactly,
know,
exactly.
and what is with her is you see why I sent it back with the DOD directed. Don't act up on. I advise you stay in the house on election day. Don't act up. They'll kill you and your kids.
Yeah, that's why I went on ahead and early voted, man. I'm not. I'm getting prepped up like I normally do. I got
I
prepped
already
up for
voted too, but
2020, but yeah,
well, I found out in California they went ahead and dumped some ballots out too in this election already, and they caught up to it.
man. It's like the Simpsons prediction is not gonna come true unless they have another president elect come up because Man, I don't see her winning. Like a lot of people are not voting for her. Even in Texas, they say, you know how you cash a ballot and they give you a paper of everybody you voted for. If you don't actually look at that paper and see that whoever you elected is on that paper, you're gonna be screwed. There's some people in Texas that were voting for Kamala and they were voting for Trump. You know, Texas, you already know what that is.
I already know what that
That's,
is.
that's red. That's red all day. And so
And let's just put it this way. It's like like what's his damn face? Well, I mean, what's the dude's name with the one eye?
with the one eye,
Yeah,
talking about in
Charleston.
the
It's like Charleston White dancing with
oh
the guns in
Charleston,
the
yeah,
video. That's
yeah, yeah.
that had me rolling when he was dancing with the guns in the video and stuff. I kind of respected that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is in Texas. So you're going to be dancing with people's votes and all that. So we're going.
Mm-hmm.
They already got articles that they plan on cheating and everything. I have all the information. You know what I'm saying?
The
On that,
electoral college is gonna play the biggest part in this, which we already say that the electoral college pretty much picks the president anyway.
right?
So when it comes down to it, it's like our vote is just to, kind of throw it in our face to say, hey, this is what the people want, but this is what the electoral college at the last minute is going to boost out because the electoral college is supposed to vote according to the people in their state. But who are these
Right.
people? Who vote them in? Are
Who
these
you think
random
it is?
people?
Who you think it is? The
We know.
Rothschilds, and the 12 families, and all that. Do your homework and research on that.
Yeah, we know it's but that's what I'm saying. Like nobody knows a lot of the stuff that naturally, if you don't do any research, like I get on a lot of older guys that I talk to, and they say, well, like one guy was telling me, Stephen A. Smith, he said that she went to Winston Salem. I said, what's in Winston Salem? She went to Howard. I said, Howard's in Winston Salem?
Howard's in
Yeah.
DC. Get the fuck out of here.
And that's what
That
I told the
motherfucker.
guy. I was like, dude, you've been on the earth longer than me. I'm only 40. I'm only 43. You 50. I think he's 53 or 54. And
He
I'm
my
like,
age and don't know fucking shit. What the fuck?
and I'm asking, I'm like, see, this is the thing that I'm saying. Like, did you do your research about Kamala? Oh, Kamala, this and I was like, look, Kamala's black to you, and Kamala, we done the homework. Kamala has a Jamaican father, all this and that. We could do all this all day, but my thing is, she only wants to be black when it was convenient. What's going on, Lonzo?
Exactly. She was claiming Indian all the way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, but
She was
she
claiming
ins
Indian, so Indian heritage. Not even our old people are going to vote for her either. You know what I mean? So we know what's going to happen with this country and everything. We already predicted it. Why you think they put the DOD director in there to kill American citizens on their own soil?
But see, this is the thing. She already inseminated herself in the black culture by going to a HBCU and pledging a fraternity.
Yep,
So
and she did.
that
Oh, yes,
was,
she did. That is true. I know people. I knew her, and that was a fraternity, and I have AKAs in my family in
and see,
Delaware.
that's her.
And, you
That's
know what I mean?
that's that's her get out of jail free card. See, when the Indian card doesn't work, she can always like how the players when you do football and they pull that card out the pocket to say flag on the play or what flag. That's how Kamala uses that. I went to a HBCU. I pledge a fraternity to be black. But other than that, that's how she associate herself with being black by going to the HBCU and pledging fraternity.
But did she ever pledge that her husband is going to be messing with nannies and pay a nanny $80,000 to cover up his dirt after
Man,
the election?
dog, I'm just saying, I wouldn't be surprised. She was messing with Willie Brown back in the day, so I wouldn't be surprised. That's like another thing. I told my friend that I said, man, Kamala don't believe in black families. She was messing with Willie Brown while he was married. And he was like, so Trump was messing around on Ivanka and all his other wives. I say, but the funny part is, I said, don't women always say men ain't no good? So if he messing around on his wife, isn't that they say what men do? Hey, we man, like I said, it's this election thing. It's
Woody Brown was pretty much getting the jaws of life at
yeah.
60 years old by a young VP.
You got the best
Man,
and the worst. You got the best and the worst with this election, man. It's bringing out some stuff, man. It's really bringing out some stuff.
it's sad.
What's going on, Alonzo?
What's going on, Sheed? How you?
All right.
All right. So I wanted to jump in on the whole political train. I'm a registered independent, and I feel,
That's good you're
yeah,
independent.
I
I
feel
like that.
certain ways about both sides. Because Donald Trump did some things that affected me negatively personally during his first administration, and Kamala Harris has done nothing that's affected me positively. Um, so you know, um, I'll say this: number one, when it comes to politics, I do think we need to start putting more respect on women's names, and I'm going to explain what I mean when I say that. So, if you notice, and I think it is fairly disrespectful to the women that we do this to, we call them by their first name. We don't call them by their last name. And if we're going to be a progressive country, we got to start changing that, right? So instead of calling her Kamala, we need to call her Ms. Harris. Just like we don't call Barack Obama Barack, we call him Obama. We didn't call President Bush George, we called him President Bush. Now, a lot of people are disrespectful to Donald, oh, the orange man, this, that, and the third, but they still do say Trump, right? With the women, Hillary Clinton, Tulsi Gabbard, Sarah Palin, Lori Lightfoot. Like, why can't we use now? Generally, the reason that we tend to use the women's first name, and this is going to probably make the red pill guys happy, is because women are generally selfish, where they're going at things for themselves, and men we're using the men's last name because he's doing things in regards to his family. So, Bush, Clinton, Obama, Trump are not just doing things for George Bush, Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, but they're doing it for the Obama family, the Clinton family, the Bush family, so on and so forth. So that's one thing I do think on either side we need to put some respect on their name. In regards to what Donald Trump did that pissed me off, so the standard deduction pissed me off, but I make a certain level of income, myself and my wife. Standard deduction was what, 18,000? So that means we couldn't really take write-offs unless we had substantially above 18,000 in write-offs. Most people who make less than 400 grand a year, even if you're a business owner, don't have, more than maybe 20 grand in write-offs. Right? So that made things more difficult. He changed things on the what you could take in terms of tax deduction on interest on homes, which was a negative. He threw a temper tantrum and shut down the government for 35 days, which royally screwed me and my wife. My wife works for the government, and I at the time was doing real estate.
Okay.
Hold on. I at the time was doing real estate, so that screwed me up because in terms of closing on houses, I couldn't get people's tax transcripts, so they couldn't get a mortgage, so I couldn't sell the house. Right? So that pissed me off. Now, what makes me happy is he is number one exposing a lot of nonsense in terms of, so like people were like, oh, the tariffs, and he exposed a lot of the loopholes that these billionaires use. And one thing he said with Hillary Clinton, she was like, oh, well, you took $1 billion tax loophole. And he was like, yeah, I did. And so do many of your friends, George Soros, Warren Buffett, and all those other billionaires, right? As Black people in America, we have to realize that If we want any politician to do anything for us, then we really have to enact powernomics, like Dr. Claude Anderson was saying. We really
Yep.
got to sit here and put our money where our mouth is and create political action committees and stop just saying no tangibles, no vote. Because that's literally the equivalent of us going to a steakhouse. And then when we sit down, they say, "Sir, what would you like?" And we just say, "I'd like something to eat." Well, then we can't be mad when they bring us tripe and we wanted a 72-ounce steak because we just said we wanted something to eat or
Nah,
tangible.
we have to bring the real to them. Everything got to be written on paper. You got to be precise. You got to be professional. You got to be top notch because you only get one chance.
Yep.
Exactly. Now Kamala, I'm sure pissed all of us off. One of the things that I do dislike, and again, like I said, I'm an independent, so I'm on the fence. The way I vote is, what are you going to do for me? Right?
Pretty much.
So that,
And
that's why I'm
you
an
basically
independent.
vote. You're basically voting on policy. That's good. That's why I vote on policy.
Yeah.
You know
Yep.
what I mean?
And Kamala had initially piqued my interest really quick when she was talking about, the supposed cap $50,000 cap for business owners, but you need to have made more revenue than 50,000 because it's a tax break. And so that means that you have to have made more revenue or enough losses to get that tax break on that 50,000. People don't understand. She's not giving out money. And
No,
then
she's
for
not.
this plan for black men, again, she's living up to what she said. She did say she's not going to do anything specifically for black people. She didn't say she wasn't going to do anything for black people, but she said she wasn't going to do anything specifically for black people because anything she does for black people will benefit the country as a whole. And she literally stood by her word with that proposal for black men, which was malarkey because it wasn't for black men,
It
because
was
it
for
says,
everybody.
yeah, it's
What
for
you think?
everybody.
What you think? You think a deep state? You think a deep state chick's gonna go by and help black men? No. Somebody's married to a Jew and a Jew who cheated on her with the cheap ass nanny. Nah.
Yeah, nah.
That's cuz a Mexican nanny on top of that, and she's still
Oh,
gonna
hell
put
no.
immigrants
Yeah.
in. That ain't gonna work and stuff like that. They should put drug use in the bill like marijuana and smoke. I found out when
Yeah.
I was talking to my homie with the supporters that were coming in. He said he was, know what he said? He said he was going with Trump. Guess what? They came back to his house an hour and stuff like that. And they've been trying to put liquor bottles in the neighborhood and moonshine to force their vote over to Cam and all that. You know what I'm saying? That didn't work.
Crazy.
Now they're trying to make them have a cookout in that certain neighborhood of Philadelphia too. You know that
Yeah.
bullshit. Now I know I told them
Crazy.
motherfuckers do. I'm not gonna say it on here. That's all that is. Let's just put it this way. Let's do some mob stuff.
But see, when it come down to it, that's why she said she made it specifically for black men, because the black men didn't
That's some
want to
racist
hear
stuff. Drug
all
use
that
and
crap.
talk about Trump is
Yeah.
racist.
And then talking
We all don't
about the
use no drugs
student
and stuff like
loans.
that. I know I don't smoke no weed. I know that.
Yeah, and then the student loan stuff. I mean, that's like a slap in the face by saying all we want is money and weed. And then when the guys say, "Well, we're not relating to you because of your policies, you're not giving us anything," and the first thing everybody said, "Well, Trump is not giving you nothing too." Well, Trump has already been in office. He showed us what he's going to do. Kamala's already been in there as a vice president. I told my friend the best thing Kamala could do right now to kind of get a foot in the election before Obama screwed her was to come out and say, Bush, no, not Bush, I'm sorry. Biden has ran this office for the last 4 years. Give me a chance. I will do things better. I have policies that I can implement to make things better, because my thing is, if you're not convincing me how you're gonna make things better, why would I vote for you? If you're not convincing me that
She said
the
she gonna
next
keep
4 years will be
thing.
better, how can I vote for you? All you doing is trying to make everything the same. Though I told my friend she needs to throw Biden up under the bus, because right now that's why everybody's not voting for her, because society is looking bad and we're like, you're already in office. How are you going to help us?
Well, we do
Exactly.
realize that so here's what's funny. They kind of peeled it back and brought Biden back into office. But what if we know accurately, the vice president's job is what? To step in when the president is deemed incompetent or unable to do his job, right?
And he's been that way.
So when he was deemed unable or incompetent to run for president again, that meant she was the president. So she's been the president for the last couple months,
Yep.
She been
But
right?
she,
the she been the president for 4 years. Biden was not even damn healthy. He was mostly in his mansion in Delaware instead of being in Washington D.C. I've been
So
past
I'm
his
not
mansion
gonna
before in Delaware, up in Price's Corner. I know where Biden lives at.
I'm not gonna go that crazy on that only because at least he was still able to be in the political eye, but or in the public eye. But once he stepped down, and I've had people who were like, "Oh well, he didn't he said he was gonna retire. He only wanted to be a one-term president." That's because he knew he wasn't gonna win. Because I got some black guys who are like, Trump is racist, and I don't see how he suddenly has become so racist. When back in 1988, and I actually posted this video on my YouTube. You know
I
who
got a
asked
picture
him
of
if
him
he
with a
was going
black
to run for?
girlfriend.
Huh?
I got a picture of him with a black girlfriend.
Yeah, but not only that, back in 1988, guess who asked him if he was going to run for president on her TV show? Oprah,
Oprah.
Oprah, Oprah.
right? And this was while Jesse Jackson said his remark that got him labeled as racist and got him taken out of the presidential election, which was the H word against the small hat men. I'm not going to say those words because I'm not trying to get your channel messed up, Chief.
Oh
Yeah,
no, you good?
wow.
Sun Cloud, what's going on? Yeah, man. I mean, you gotta understand. Jesse ran up under Trump. He supported him. He paid. He let a lot of rappers. I mean, it was a give and a take thing. I let you use my hotel for stuff, and you throw me some bones in your videos, write me in your songs. It was. I'm not. He's a businessman. He wasn't gonna do anything for free. That's like me. If I own Trump Towers and I let you come over here shoot a video, stay for free, what I get out of the deal? I'm a
Yeah,
businessman. This is transactional.
Let me
yeah.
break you down with something, fellas.
Go
You
ahead.
had a poor black woman who was living on the street, didn't know that was in his motels. You know what I'm saying? Then he found him in the motel. He gave her a room to stay there forever. She's still there now.
Yeah, and see that's the thing. They're not gonna talk about that because see, Trump
They talk about the
is
redlining.
yeah, Trump is wrecking. Trump is wrecking right now, as far as civilization as they know it, to try to mend something to be different. The UN don't want them back over there because they're trying to scale the people a certain type of way, and they need these. I'm just saying in general, most of these Democrats, because most Democrats in general, hey, it's in their best interest to go what with the deep state. They keep saying Trump is deep state.
Yep.
I'm like, hey.
Yo, did you see? Did you see? And the talk about the independent guy. You see what I have in the back chat?
You talking about Lonzo? Yeah, put
Lonzo,
some in
you
the
see
back
why?
chat here.
Go click that link
I
in the
don't
back
see it
chat.
in the back chat at the moment. It's blank to
Yeah,
me. I might have
you
came up too
probably
late.
you probably gotta re-put it in there, and then he'll see it. But I seen it. I just screenshot it, and I went to the site too as well.
Go to look at. I went ahead and put it up there again, Alonzo. Go ahead and save that. My advice: be in the woods and go somewhere else and be indoors on election day after you vote.
Well, so here's the thing, right? When we look at
They
this,
gave
and
they gave a permission to kill Americans on American soil on that day
oh yeah,
because of what happened before.
for J6, yeah. So again, a lot of this stuff, like when we look at things, right? So a lot of people, let's use the reference that you used with the Trump Towers, right? So I did real estate in New York City, right? And I know a person who
New York
is
City, okay.
in his 60s currently, right? In his mid to late 60s. He's probably closer to 70. He was like, yo, I don't understand how all these brothers are talking about Trump is racist and he wouldn't let people rent. He said, my grandmother lived in Trump Towers and While Trump's father, yes, Trump's father was a verified member of the Ku Klux Klan. However, he was a businessman. So you know what? He rented to everybody whose money was green because he remembers, and again, this man is in his damn near 70s, said, I remember going to or being at the Trump Tower, and I remember seeing Trump when he was younger coming with his father to collect the rent from my grandmother. Right? Now, we also look at the whole ethnicity thing, right? Um, we know Kamala's not black, right? The whole Jamaican thing, they're saying because 90% of people born on that island are Jamaican, but there's a lot of people who are
I'm gonna let
Chinese
you
who are
know.
born.
I'm about to bust that bubble right now. Her father was Indian descent,
Yeah.
and
And then
her father, their family came from slave. The family they owned slaves over there in the Middle East in Africa.
yeah. Oh yeah, no, no,
So
no.
that
They're
let's
Indian and
get to the
Irish. They're
raw.
not
Let's
black.
get to the raw truth of that. You know what I mean? Of what
Yeah.
she's really all about.
Yeah.
And talking
And
about, you know why would she want to pass a thing with we involved with the bill? It's a certain type of brother or nigger that she's looking for.
well, here's the problem, right? Because we see you got to realize the deeper issue, right?
Right.
For example, the legalization of marijuana back in the 1930s when they criminalized it. You know who was against it? LaGuardia, because LaGuardia had about 10 to 30 dispensaries in New York City in the 1930s,
In the 1930s, wow.
right?
I wonder how
And
I wonder how it was down here in Philadelphia because I'm in Philadelphia.
yeah. Now, speaking of, well, in PA, I'll say in Pennsylvania at least. So there's an old gangster from Pennsylvania by the name of Gus Greenlee, who is my great great granduncle, who owned the
Oh,
Negro
okay.
League Pittsburgh Pirates.
A
Right?
Pittsburgh on the Pittsburgh side, 5 hours away.
Yeah. But when we look at Donald Trump now, like I said, this is why I'm an independent because I expose both sides, right? Like I
Right.
said, I want to know what you're going to do for me in your policies. And so Donald Trump did lie about his ethnicity. He used to say that he was Swedish, but the reason that he said he was Swedish was because he wanted to rent to Jews and or excuse me to small hats. Like I said, I'm not trying to mess up nobody channel. I'll say it on mine, but I'm not going to risk
Nah,
your
you
channel.
good.
So he wanted to rent to Jewish people, and he felt that they would feel uncomfortable knowing his heritage was German, especially seeing as his daddy was a KKK member, right? So he said, "Oh yeah, we're Swedish," right? And so people may use that. Let's use the Central Park Five. So you mean to tell me that a
Yeah, I
man who
remember that.
didn't
Yeah.
have any power took out a newspaper ad in the 1980s. Well, literally, what people hanging on to that are saying is he posted a mean tweet because if he could tweet in the 1980s, he would have just tweeted it instead of paying for a newspaper ad. But what they're saying is that apparently the people who are in power, like the attorney generals and the district attorneys, were apparently so incompetent that they had to take a tweet and go, well, this guy tweeted it, so we're going to lock these guys up. But we always use the Central Park Five. Nobody ever goes back and looks at this thing called Seneca Village. Seneca Village was Africa Town. You know what
I heard of
Africa
that
Town?
Seven Village. Yep.
Yeah,
I heard it again. It was in Central Park, right?
they got pillaged to create Central Park. So if you didn't
Hmm.
eliminate Seneca Village, there would have been no Central Park for there to have a Central Park 5. Right? But we don't ever talk about that. Right?
Right.
Let's
There's a lot of
let,
stuff that we don't talk about that's real, and they always want to sell it. All this party, well, not party, all this these look what you do. They want to like, and that's all they want you to do, and pretty much shut the f up and listen to us and do what we say. That's what they
yeah,
hear. Hmm.
yeah.
They want to
I
give
mean,
you the
even if
Charlie
we
Brown
look
womp
further,
womp
right?
womp.
One of the main things that Kamala is running on is reproductive rights, which is redonkulous. Let's look at
What's
again.
going on, Sunco?
What's up, Sunclaw? A reason that I refuse to vote for Hillary Clinton or Joe Biden. As a black man in America, if you really felt comfortable voting for Joe Biden, that's literally the equivalent of a Jewish man voting for the author of Mein Kampf,
Thank you.
right? And
Exactly.
because Joe Biden wrote the 94 crime bill in 1974.
Yes, he did. And I was only born. I was born 2 years in 1972. Before that,
Okay. But a lot of people don't know that. You know, I had some brothers tell me, yeah, we used to, back in the 70s, we used to wash our collard greens in the tub. I was like, bro, my grandmother, 86 years old. Uh.
my mom's my mom's 84. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? She never
I've
did no.
never heard
She never.
nobody
She
watch
never did
collard
no. She
greens.
never. She never did no stuff like that. You know what I mean? Because she was a Virginia woman, but raised in Chester, Pennsylvania.
The same
Exactly.
place you take a bath. Come on now, where are they getting this stuff from?
Because they want to label Donald Trump racist, which he's classist. I'll give him that. He's classist. He's not racist. So, to be honest, none of us are of the class that he would probably speak to because we're not millionaires and billionaires yet. But,
And let to
you
let
know,
you know, Donald Trump was on Soul Train. I got the video on that. I got the video of the black woman, the beautiful, fine model that he was with back in the '80s. She was
oh,
fine.
he
Yeah.
wanted Robin Givens before Tyson got it.
What's going?
So Mr. Grab him by the pussy was true. Mr. Grab him by the pussy. No homo, no nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know. So
But
that's pretty much a good side of that. You know what I mean? Now they make him out to be arrested because then he not following the policies that everybody wants. Everybody trying to be a damn
exactly.
crybaby, and the deep state's getting exposed by Elon Musk, everybody and
Well,
stuff like that.
everybody wants these rainbow policies.
And who cares about some damn rainbow ass policy and stuff like that? I'm not gonna go deep into that because I don't get my main channel because that's the energy they want us to give. We don't give that energy. It's just masculine, true male energy here, and we speaking facts, and we're
So
gonna
let
stay
me
on the facts.
address young Riaz because he said something about the Muslim comments. So let's realize though, brother Riaz, that a lot of the Muslim American community right now is absolutely not in support of Kamala because she is extremely pro-Israel and anti-Palestine. Now, both sides are pretty much pro-Israel, anti-Palestine. But you guys know what happened a few days ago, maybe maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks ago now, right?
talking about
We
that.
sent over
Oh,
a piece of technology to Israel along with 100 troops. So now we have boots on the ground. So what happens is, and nobody ever mentions this on either on the pro Trump or negative Trump side, the last time we had a war was under Obama.
Thank you,
Well,
thank
now
you.
we had a war under Biden, but when Trump was in office, we had no war. Trump lost to COVID. He did not lose to Joe Biden. Now,
Right?
the major issue is where
They
if
cheated
he
that election.
if he wins, he's going to be labeled a woman beater because he only beat women so far in his political campaign. But people are afraid that he's going to because he did say, hey, you know, if you vote me in again, you'll never have to worry about voting ever again. I guess they think he's going to try and make it an aristocracy, which if you saw J6, there's no way he'll be able to make it an aristocracy unless he makes things very, very, very comfortable for every American, which isn't going to happen because you're going to have some leftists who are just upset, right? I was literally arguing on TikTok with a woman who's
Okay,
a public defense
that's
attorney.
like a paragraph enough. Hey,
Hey, what's up, Riaz?
okay, Alondra, you know what, man? I kind of agree with you, and I've never disagreed, or I fully agree with you. I don't support either side, man. And I know I'm not from this country and I'm overseas and stuff like that, but I still give my perspective either way because I know. Eventually someday it will affect me eventually. I'm not saying no, not directly, or even if it's the same struggle, different system. I know I've got my own issues and I'm well aware of that. However, to me, I'm still willing to give my perspective either way, man. That's
Yeah.
just how I see it.
What
And
country
I
you from?
agree with UK.
Okay, you right. Yeah, you over. Yeah, England. Okay, I got you.
Well, yeah, UK is really going to have an effect because, so,
Yeah.
one of the things that we're concerned about is if Kamala gets in, they're likely going to secede the country and give it back to Britain, which as Americans, we don't want.
Well, I don't want that either. I'm very empathetic, man. Not just for me, but for you also. I'm
That's
very
good.
empathetic for everyone, though. Also, the Palestinians as well. Since the 1917, that conflict, they've been going since 1917. They've been suffering for so long. That's why I'm so empathetic. I have a lot of empathy for America as well. And I know, I have my own issues, and I'm well aware of that. I have empathy for that, but I'm still willing to be empathetic to everyone else, though. Not being selfish, though. So that's
Peace.
just how it is with me.
One of the things that I'm kind of thinking about right now, when you just mentioned the that UK angle, did anybody hear about those laws that they changed in the UK recently
I heard
about
about
being
some of
able to
that. I
go
didn't really
after
have to.
people for making social media posts,
That's why they're
and they
going
will
after the
have the
First
Yeah,
cops
Amendment
knock
here.
on your door? Well, the
I
United
heard.
States is also part of Five Eyes.
Yep.
So
You're
that
right.
also makes it easier for them to get to American citizens through that UK connection.
Yeah, and also not just that only. It's not just that connection as well. I think it's also what you call an economic connection also. Because think about it this way, right?
You
If
say
America
something.
doesn't do good internationally, no one else does good. Because think about it that way. America has a strong international influence, right? And when they're overseas, right? Like their influence is strong in some way, and everyone else trades with them and stuff like that. And economically, if America don't do good, respectfully, everywhere else doesn't do good. Because when America wasn't doing, UK instantly started to collapse slowly down. Like they were like stable for a period though, but they haven't recovered since '08 crash though. That '08 crash, they never recovered, but they've been keeping a level of stability. Moment that happened, straight downhill.
Pretty much. And I'm talking about from you, Britain. You know where the Declaration of Independence came from? It came from my city. So England came over to my city, and it's still there now. You know what I mean? The Constitution and all that, right there at Independence Hall, Liberty Bell, and all that. So that's right there. You know what I mean? I could go down there and look at that Constitution right now if I want to. But so many of these police are not obeying this Constitution and abusing people's rights, and they using their own rules to get they killed, to get people killed. I
But
wonder those rules are coming from your country, UK,
you,
with the
you,
police.
you know the crazy part about
Wait, but
the
what's
go ahead.
interesting as well, though, right? Literally, I think Metropolitan Police, I think in South London, something happened with this Chris Cabot case, and then some people everywhere else, though, literally weren't happy with how they dealt with it. So then they had like an international board, not international, independent board. Sorry, I'm getting my words mixed up. I'll slow down for it. Meant to say an independent police board literally had to investigate them and stuff like that during that case because you know because of this UK producer named Chris Cabba. He was a member of the group 6-7, and 6-7 is like a South London gang, but also a music group as well. And
Mm.
during the case, Cabba's past was not allowed to be discussed. And when the case was done, they found out he was a career criminal, but he was also a music producer. But people want justice for him. I don't know what to feel about it.
So the police mafia is pretty heavy over there in the UK compared to
Yep, of
America,
course.
right?
Yes, of course. In a way, yes. Basically, in some parts of the UK, police aren't allowed to use the guns, but in the south, they can now. Most of the gun crime, though, is
London.
mostly down in the south of the UK, so like Brixton and Peckham, and that's where most of it is. And it's like illegal type of thing, On the street, it's mostly illegal. And some people, right? They found a way to basically turn the toys into real. So if you take like even if they can acquire a real license, you can get a license for a firearm. However, the process is strict, so that's why you don't see as much. And it also depends which area you're from. So they
Right.
Well,
made
if
the
I'm not
process
When
to
did they
mistaken,
get it.
change the law?
say again,
Hmm?
Suncore.
When did they change the law, the rules allowing the cops over there in the UK to carry firearms? I thought that was just for SWAT and things like that.
No, it's pretty much for the SWAT and stuff. They've always had it. It's just that they don't really use it as much. It's also an area type thing. I think though I'm originally from East London. Though all I know is the
Oh God.
cops over there. Where I'm
London,
from
yeah,
in
in
East
London, they be
London, though.
shooting up a storm.
Yeah. Well, they'll
Yeah,
knife you down in London unless you're in Blackpool. Then they're probably gunning you down. But I think a lot of that happened or changed in Riyadh. You can kind of verify or debunk this. There's a major issue with crocodile in the UK. Correct?
yes, yes, of course.
So I think what we're looking at is globally we're looking at syndicates or organized families, right?
Yeah,
From
you know, like
Japan
the
and the U.
Sour Posse, also
Say,
Jamaica as well.
yeah. Oh,
Don't
crocodiles
forget.
in Jamaica now.
Yeah, like basically you got the shower posse as well. So a long time ago in the UK, you had
Oh
like
yeah, I heard
gangs
about
like
them.
you had gangs like the Peckham Boys, the hold on, let me remember. Peckham Boys, Squeeze Section, let me try and remember. Gas Gang though, which
I
was
remember
Guns and
Gas
Shanks.
Gang.
And Gas Gang is not fractured though. You know, basically I think they split into different fractions. So Brixton was like, unified in a way like they were unified but also had rivals as well. But all I know is like they had Gas Gang though, and it was the Gas Gang versus Peckham Boys, not just in the music, but it was in the street type thing too. But now Gas Gang's fractured, so now you got the 150 versus the 6-7 type of thing.
Ah.
So people who grew up together eventually became rivals though. So areas that were once cool with each other, they grew up together and stuff like that. People on that side though, they eventually just, started beefing with each other.
Mm.
That's crazy.
So
Yeah,
so basically 150 and 6-7 are the originators of the UK drill genre though. So before it was
Right.
the road rap genres, which was
Roadman.
road rap is like American gangster rap and grime mixed together, slowed down and laid back.
Yes, sir.
Mm.
But
So you
like,
had guys like gigs and stuff. So the moment
I think
150 and
that's one.
6-7 started it, that's when UK drill started to rise.
I think that's one of the major issues here in the U.S. And like you said, Riaz, globally, we also have to realize that what is it, 80% or like 78% of financial transactions done across the globe are transacted in US dollars, right?
Hmm.
So what happens here? So Riaz, you have every right to speak on this because what happens here affects pretty much the rest of the planet,
pretty
right?
much. You're right about
Yeah.
that,
Wait,
Alonzo. Yeah.
remember there's this one time, I think a long time ago, I can't remember though, where it was like the one king of Saudi or something like that, where he basically did a boycott of America thing because he wanted to, like what America was doing and stuff like that with the Israel type thing. He wanted to boycott them, and that literally affected America so much because they were boycotting the oil type thing though, stuff like that.
Well, isn't that why they got rid of Gaddafi?
Mm, kind of, and also though, I think what happened to Ezra Faisal as well. So I think though what he did mistake he made was do the petro dollar deal, where Saudis have to trade in American dollars.
Yeah, he
Mm,
tried to denounce the dollar with the gold Dion, where he
yeah.
was
Yeah,
making
yeah.
the Yeah, when he was making it to where
The
only way
Brooks
you can buy
nations
the
should do that
fuel
now.
was with that. Yeah, and the bricks are doing it now. See, the
Yeah.
thing of it
Yeah,
is,
but with the BRICS part, are these
Bricks
wars a
won't
coincidence, or is it
won't
a way
last.
a roundabout way
But
to
you got
go
cards
after the
over here.
BRICS deal?
You got credit cards and debit cards over here. You can convert your money to gold. You know what I mean? Like lent money and play stuff like that. I'm into the crypto thing, so you know what I mean. Crypto has helped me build up money. And whenever I had ran out of money or I got in a situation, I could go to my crypto account and take the money out and put it back
yeah,
in. You know, that's
yeah,
it. But under this administration, I had not been able to do that. You can't. I
and
can't really buy
Well, did
anything
she
under this
propose some
administration.
kind of protections for Now, so this is my question because Kamala did propose in the plan for black men some kind of protection over crypto investments, but I think she was talking about CBDC, and that's a
Yeah.
major issue right
CBCB is
now.
bullshit. That's to control you. You might as well just go to the United Nations, say I surrender, and put a dildo up your ass.
But see, even with that too, like Sunclaw was saying, I don't think it's no coincidence of all these awards and the bricks how they're, coming in power and all these things. It it's almost like it's kind of playing. And you know,
Bilderberg Group.
yep,
Yeah, because
Thank you.
then you think about that censorship that they were doing in Brazil. Brazil is also part of BRICS.
Yeah.
yep.
Now, if they get too overhanded with the heavy-handed with the censorship down there and the restricting of the oppositional political party, you could have a revolt in Brazil. And if Brazil has a revolt, then their economy is going to go down the toilet.
Yep.
So there you have it with Russia. There's a war front in Russia. There's a war front over there in the Middle East that's moving towards Iran. Then there's some instability in Brazil.
And did
So
y'all
I'm
see
I'm I'm
China?
kind of starting to see it.
China
Yeah.
just did a event where they had over 10,000 drones flying in the sky, and you just know, and this was all ran by one single computer having 10,000 drones putting designs in the skies. How do we know in years from now China can have these things spying over here at us in America? Because they already do that. Their people, they having it to where if you talk anything bad about the government, your merits, they're gonna have a merit system dealing with the
All
people.
you gotta, all you gotta do is watch the movie Runaway with
I think they're
Ray
going to fight
Liotta.
that, though. I mean, we
Yeah, I
remember
mean, you might as
Tiananmen
well.
Square.
If that answers your question
Yeah.
right there, watch the movie Runaway with Ray Liotta with them little robotics. That'll tell you everything.
Okay.
So, Sunquo, you actually brought up a good point that made me think about a destruction of an economy. So, you know how we had supposedly the Venezuelans coming over to America, the Venezuelan gangsters. What is it that in the past few years happened to Venezuela? Their currency went to zero.
Yeah,
So, they probably couldn't even afford to keep their criminals, which is why they
Yeah,
set
send
them
them
free
over
and were
here.
like, hey, go to America,
dude.
assuming that we would probably either clean them up and mop them up. But they brought them to areas that we don't have organized organizations um, in majority black neighborhoods, right? And I won't say Mexican because Mexicans have a huge network of organization. Even though they're just as street as black guys, the biggest gang in America is 18th Street, followed by MS-13 or Mana Salvatrucha, which is also backed by La M or the Mexican Mafia,
I think
right?
it's a different animal.
Yep.
Um, I
Man,
lived in the Dominican Republic back in the early '90s, early to mid '90s. The gangsters over there, they don't use guns.
They
I
slash.
remember seeing a boy that used to be in one of those gangs, and I saw him one day, and his arms were all torn up. These dudes were fighting with each other with machetes and
Yeah,
using their forearms to shield themselves.
yeah,
When you're willing to go to that level of violence, man,
yo,
the people here don't know
oh,
shit
that's
if
horrible.
if you going against somebody like that.
Yeah.
And it
You got
wasn't
Dude,
just
legs.
one slash, it was slashes on both of his arms.
I'm
you
surprised with
talking
Mercedes
about
legs ain't flying in the air. Legs and hands ain't flying up in the air. Because how sharp your Mercedes is, that will happen.
you talking about someone literally coming in trying to go hand to hand combat with somebody that can pick up a stick that's been trained like this to take you out.
yeah.
You talking about going into a fight already losing because you got to understand a lot of times when you deal with other countries, we're the only country for the most part that don't actually demand that you go to the military and do
Mhm.
at least a minimum of two
Two
years.
years, yeah.
Everybody I talked to over from Africa to Russia, one of my friends, he was from Bulgaria. He did 2 years in the military. He was cool. The other guy, he liked the military. He did 8 years and he got out. the one that did 8 years, his hand-to-hand comeback was just superior as the guy that did 2 years. That was recommended. You got guys over here, fat lard tubs on the computer talking all this blah 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 and women and blah blah. I'm like, dude, you really have no idea if one of these guys come over here and start trying to manhandle you. There's no type of, oh, I used to. Man, I used to punch like me. I wrestled. I did a little boxing, football, all this stuff. I can pretty handle myself well. But when you have a guy that come in with actual military training,
There's no
all my wrestling
conflict.
goes out the window. All
But
this
I
stuff
think
goes.
it's a difference in mindset. You know,
Yeah,
like how people can go to the store and buy chicken, but they couldn't go in the backyard and wring that chicken's neck.
Mm,
It's that level of getting their hands dirty. You see, the gangsters over here, they use firearms.
yeah.
They've never dealt with somebody who uses their hands and is physically attached to the act that they're doing. It's a
that's the
difference
old.
in mentality.
See? Yep,
It's
that's
a
the old
difference
way
in
of doing it.
brutality.
Yeah, that's
Shooting somebody is a whole lot easier than stabbing someone.
Right.
eh, but then this is the thing too. We a lot of, let's just face it, come to a lot of cowardice in this society nowadays. You'll shoot up a whole crowd just to hit one person. Where back in the day, if you had an issue
Mhm.
with a man, you'll walk up to him like that Frank Lucas where he shot him in front of everybody in the open plain
Right.
view. That's how they did it old school way. If I had an
Yep.
issue with you, I'm not gonna sit there. We're gonna get 15 guys, we're gonna get 15 guns, we're gonna shoot up a crowd just to hit one person. No, I'm going straight to that person, whether I gotta stab him, shoot him, or whatever I'm gonna do to take him out. I mean, scare tactics is one thing, but if you really had an altercation with somebody,
Yeah, you
scare
go
tactics go
directly
out the
to that
window.
person.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's gonna be a whole different society that people are talking about compared to actually, man, I got a problem with this guy. No, these guys are coming to say a problem with him. Do you want me to kill him now or later? That's
Yeah,
gonna be the main goal, you know. Even
yeah.
even in
Right.
politics, man, the politicians they was just talking about how they had some guy they caught that came over the border with Kamala, talking about how he's going to be able to start some during the election where he was going to do some bombing, but they caught him before he got a chance to set everything up. He came over the border. I mean, like stuff like that. We have absolutely almost no protection by leaving our borders open like this. And then you got to understand the people who are here that are legal and the people who went through the situation to become legal, even people who have green cards, they are offended that after all these years of trying to do everything the right way, get their green card, become citizens, you got people just fast track to becoming a citizen. They taking offense to that. They're like, man, I went through the process, but you making these new people come in. They don't have to do this. They're offended by it. Like they
Yeah.
said, you got Mexican gangs over here. Charleston White said this best. Charleston, he deals with the gang culture, all that and everything. He said when a young guy got killed over here, he was trying to get the one of the gang. That's how he made himself
Where
famous.
you at, Shane?
I'm in Atlanta, but I was just
Oh,
just referring to
yeah.
Charleston in
I
Texas.
did, I did 1997 to 2000 down there. And I came back to Philadelphia. You know why? I mean, the
Right.
police down there did not see eye to eye.
Oh yeah, you go he's a country man, country police man. You gonna have
Yeah.
issues with them. But yeah, but what Charleston was saying though, the reason why he became famous and on Instagram, YouTube, all that, he was cussing out a gang leader because one of the little baby gangsters got killed. The dude was 14 years old. He got killed. When it came down to it, he said nobody had money to pay for this guy's funeral. His mom and family were scrapping up money to get money. So he said, if these guys don't pay for this funeral, I'm a snitch. I'm gonna tell this and that. He wasn't telling nothing. He just was threatening the guy live, and he got world. That was the first time he hit World Star for doing that, and people were talking about it, everything. But he said when he went to the Latino guys and one of the guys died, they don't you know they have a organization to where When the person dies, the gang pays for the Latino gangs and the Mexican gang. They paid for the guy's funeral. They gave the family $30,000 because of one of their members died on their watch.
Hmm.
I mean, to me, that's preposterous. You
And
have
if he's not from here, they'll get the money together so that they
and
can
ship
send
them
his
back
body back to his family.
yep, exactly. See, you got organization within the gangs. What was it? Who was it? The other guy he
Yeah,
was talking about that.
organization inside. I know exactly what you're
Um,
talking about.
Godfrey. Godfrey said that. Godfrey said he knew a guy that was big on drugs, went to a Japanese or a Chinese mobster and was talking to him about drugs, trying to ship drugs back over. He said the mobster told him, he said, the bad thing, I don't want to do business with you because your people, y'all have no organization. He said, y'all will fight with everybody else, but won't work with your kind. He said, I might not like a Chinese man or a Japanese man that treats me wrong, but when it comes to business, we set aside. Don't you know my brother, and it's crazy, my brother got a deal with a guy. A guy stiffed him. He brought a guy to him to work a deal so they can do a business venture. The guy goes over his head and charges his guy 15% transaction fee on his business. And he said, hold on, you're supposed to be doing that deal with me, and I charge my guy whatever I say, and we go from there. But he let it shake down. He let the business go through. Now, when he came back and did the deal, he was short at 5,000 on his end. So when it came back, they had another deal. He shorted the guy 5,000, and he was like, "Well, I shorted you 5,000, but you will get it back on the next deal." And we went from a $60,000 deal to a $80,000, $100,000 deal. He wants to say, I'm not going to take upon this $80,000 deal until you give me my 5,000. He said, so you rather lose $35,000 just because of a $5,000 deal? And the guy said, well, it's the principle. He said, okay, that's fine. Business deal ended only for that. And I told him, I said, man, there's ways of getting your money back. I would have never did that because in the long run, the same way you got me, I would have got you back. We would have just been going tit for tat until one of us became the bigger man and said, look, both of us, we're doing business together. We can't keep going like this. So let's make this work now before we do any business. How much I owe you, how much you owe me. State your claim, I state my claim, and we go from there. This is a big old proposition that's bigger than a lot of us, just like the whole thing with Kamala. I had pretty much ambition to kind of vote for her for one because she was a woman and she kind of recognizes
Gotta go,
being black.
fellas. I want to fall asleep on you, and I gotta hit this 9-5.
All right, cool.
No doubt, brother.
And that was my whole intention starting off. But you know, wouldn't let me do it because I'm like, okay, as time went on, she hasn't really put anything forward that she's planning for America. She's riding the coattail of everything that Biden did. And I'm like, man, that's not a good look because right now we're at 20% inflation. We're letting people come through our borders and we can't afford to pay American citizens because we're pushing all our money overseas because why? We're in bed with the UN. They're controlling our money. They say we have to send money here. They say we have to do this. And people say, well, we work relations with them because when it comes down to it, if we have a war, we can be in Ukraine's backyard and be able to hit Russia. The thing is, if we keep sending them money, how are we even going to be able to get to their backyard if we don't even have the funding? The military costs money. Let's start there. We making all this money. We just gave Iran some money, and Iran asked for money. What was the other war over there with Israel? We got to remember, we got to feed Israel. Israel is the Holy Land. We got to feed Israel. We're
You
doing
know, we give
everything
them
for other
$10 billion
countries.
a month.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Now,
Why?
I was listening to a show this morning, and they were talking about some statistics that the FBI came out with about the crime rate, and they had corrected old Orange Head during the debate about the crime rate not being higher, that it actually went down 2% nationally. The uh, the FBI adjusted or corrected those statistics and didn't make any news announcements or anything. So it went from 2% lower crime rate this year to actually it was 4% higher, which actually is 6%, a 6% difference. How are you going to make a mistake that is 6%? I'd understand if it was like a minus or a plus, that you forgot to do your math properly, and instead of it being plus 2%, it was minus 2%. But actually it was 4. How are you going to make that kind of mistake?
That's a big margin. 4% is a humongous margin. Like, that's crazy. And, I mean, obviously crime has gone down drastically over the past 4 decades, right? With technology, and now you got cameras that hear the sound if a shot goes off and all this other jazz. But realistically, where crime is going down, it's also going up in other ways. There's a lot more white collar crime that goes on now in the states, right? People aren't going in and sticking up a bank anymore, but now they're just skimming your card, right? And a lot of those crimes go unreported, right? And when we're looking at things like government aid, where is our aid, right? Where are we going to get aid from? Because I've not seen a country that's donated to Hurricane Helene relief or what have you, right? I've not seen uh, 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 anything that's been truly beneficial for us. I just haven't, right? So it's like, well, where's our stake in the game? We don't get anything as Americans, right? And then, like you said, all these entitlements for foreign aid, foreigners coming into America. And then when we look at racism, Kamala is running on reproductive rights. Reproductive rights meaning the right to delete your baby. And this is again why I say a black man voting for Joe Biden or Hillary Clinton is like a Jewish man voting for the author of Mein Kampf. Because Hillary Clinton already said, I admire Margaret Sanger. How the hell are we going to call that not racist? Do we know why Planned Parenthood was originally created? Now, yes, do things evolve and morph and change over time? Sure, they do. But at the end of the day, Margaret Sanger had a very specific goal in mind when she initiated Planned Parenthood. And it was the extermination of a certain ethnic group, right? Which was our ethnic group.
And Alonzo, I'm glad that you brought that up, because also one of the other reasons that we need this wave of immigrants is because the birth rate of the United States has been stagnant and is not keeping up, and we need these people in order to maintain population growth and this, that, and the other. But the black population has only been 13% of the national demographic, and has stayed like that for decades. 13%. 13%. All the trucking that's been going on around here, and it's still just 13%. Well, the only reason it's stayed at 13% is because of what Alonzo is highlighting.
I'm sorry, I was just talking and responding and saying that is insane that it's remained at 13%. But like you said, that's part of the reason why is because of the dilution. And we've given people a certain class, right? I know we talk this whole African American thing, but Africa is what, 54 countries? And Keep it a buck. Not all of them people fuck with each other, right? Like you got the Hutus and the Tutsis. They went through a genocidal war. They was trying to take each other all the way out, right? There's certain kingdoms. I went back in 2013. I was doing real estate with a young lady from the Congo, and I said some ignorant American shit. I was like, "Oh, how do you like being in America from Africa? You know, you guys got your huts and stuff." And she was like, "Nigga, I'm a princess." And I was like, "I'm sorry." She was like, "My daddy used to fly Gianni Versace to our compound to have him custom make his clothes." And I was like, yeah, I didn't have anything to say at that point, uh, because I was unlearned, right? Or, unlearned, uncultured, uneducated, whatever you want. I was ignorant. And, those are things I think another major issue is the ability to vote is, um, while you can get it while you're young, and yeah, that's cool. We get a lot of people who are young voters who don't know, their ass from their elbow, for lack of a better term, right? And so, they have. Think about it. When we were 19 or 20, our views weren't what they are now, and rightfully so. They shouldn't have been because we had different concerns then, but we didn't understand how certain things affected other things, right? You know, Prime example, the first time Barack Obama ran, I voted for him. But then when he ran against Mitt Romney, I could not find myself voting for him. I found myself voting for Mitt Romney. Why? Because Mitt Romney wanted to privatize Social Security. What did privatization of Social Security mean to me? I was going to sell a shit ton of annuities and retirement accounts. So that made sense to me because that's something that affected my personal economy and then actually my family's economy and my ability to, afford goods and services. We also have to realize that why Trump is putting on these tariffs and things is because he's trying to save the American economy. We are an economy of consumers. We do not have an export. We only import. A country cannot
Hmm.
thrive off of import only.
And one thing I'm going to mention too, the tariffs are not a new thing. Before there was a national income tax, how do you think that the government made their money? The money was made through tariffs. That's why we didn't have a national income tax before. What was it? Maybe 120 years ago?
1923, yeah,
Yep.
Hmm.
So we didn't have a national income
or
tax
1913.
because the money that the government needed to operate was gotten through tariffs.
That's just like now. If they were to sit here and stop cutting all these um tax cuts for these business, and every business paid their fair share, the American citizens won't have to pay taxes. I mean, as a company, you pay taxes on payroll, and once
Yeah.
you pay taxes on payroll, your employees pay taxes on their check. How is that even possible? That American government's even doing this, and nobody's literally talking about this. Everything that we buy is taxed. Everything, so we tax the companies are taxed. We're taxed on our money. We tax when we spend it. Only thing that they're not taxing on is when we get these jobs, which they're trying to make everything side jobs to the point where you got a W-2 it, anything over a certain amount. That's why they made the deal with all these gig apps to make them get B-side jobs and be registered, so they gotta pay. I mean, you got guys, far as a YouTuber, what's my guy name? Big Rooster. Big Rooster has this channel. Big Rooster made over $400,000 on gig apps. He don't even have a 9 to 5. He get up, he grab his truck, sometime his trailer, and go out there and make money. He made over $400,000 just on gig apps alone in 1 year with a pickup truck and a trailer.
Mm.
And he stays in California. And you mean to tell me a guy that don't have a job, he does what he wants, man, I want to work today, but that's the thing. Everybody always say, "Oh man, when you own your own company, man, you work when you want to work." No, like Alonzo, what's your favorite words? You kill what you eat. I mean, whatever you
Eat what
kill,
I
that's
share.
what you
Yeah.
eat. Yeah. If you don't go out there and make the money, you don't get paid. And a lot of people, I told people when I had my non-emergency business, I said that earlier. Man, I was working 18 hours starting that business. I was the head office, I was the secretary, I was the manager, I was the driver, I was the director, the supervisor. I wore all the hats until I started getting employees. And on average, most companies are like that. You have a company nowadays, all these women that have companies, majority of them, you're not a boss if you don't have employees to boss around.
Mm-mm.
You're just the owner of a company because you're not
M-
a boss. Men the
Most of them are
same
just
way.
self-employed.
Exactly.
Now,
You
I
But
know.
I
they the
have a
boss of
question for
CEO.
Alonzo. Do you remember Harris's plan for unrealized for taxing unrealized gains of businesses?
Capital gains. Yep.
Yeah. So I mentioned that, I spoke on that, and the major issue is this. So, because people are like, "Oh, don't worry about it. You don't make $100 million." Here's the problem: those businesses that made $100 million, they can just privatize, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they won't face that unrealized capital gain. What will happen is it'll go down to the regular American who's making $399,000 or less a year as a single person, or 500 or $499,000 or less a year as a married couple. And so your house, as it appreciates, right, and you get this quote unquote equity, that equity isn't real because you have to access it through a loan. And then you also have to show proof of ability to pay that loan back. But the equity in your house would now be taxable. So you bought a house 20 years ago for $100,000, and now due to things like gentrification and the boom in real estate, it's worth $500,000. That's a $400,000 gain. You haven't realized it because nobody gave you $500,000 for that house. So you're gonna have to pay taxes on $400,000 that you didn't earn,
So
that
how
you
are you
didn't
going to
touch,
pay something
that
that
you
you haven't
can't
earned?
spend.
You might
It's
have to sell your house just to be able to pay that tax,
exactly.
Right.
And that's
or
So
years.
small
then
business.
BlackRock can take it over.
Exactly. Because that's the thing. You notice, I know in Atlanta, they're doing this. They're building a whole bunch of townhouses. They're not, the houses that they are building, they're building them in nice, productive, growing city areas. And they still are putting down the small townhouses for the younger generation. But the only way you can get a house, the houses in nice areas are starting at 600 or $700,000. That's the
Damn,
only
it's
way you be
kind of
able to
like
afford
New
a
York
house.
then.
Yeah, I mean, dude, from the Louvre, Lawrenceville, all those areas. If you come in Decatur, you might be able to catch a condo for about $300,000. You're not getting no houses. Decatur, Atlanta, no house in Atlanta. If you get a house in Atlanta, you getting somewhere that was renovated subprime. I'm talking about, dude, a house downtown, and I'm talking about built from the scratch. That means you tore down a $200,000 or $300,000 house. You're going up with a $700,000 house.
So I ain't got no chances in Dunwoody.
Done with it, man. Dude, you know what they just doing over there? That old Ford building, they're tearing that down. They're trying to build up something over there now. Once that get built, oh, that's it. The best place I keep telling everybody to go now. Get your houses in Decatur. If
Okay.
you get a house indicator, that'll be your best bet. South Fulton is good because South Fulton is still on top. But this the thing: South Fulton is close to Hateville. Hateville is where the airport at. They need
Oh,
that area over there. My friend stay off of Cleveland Avenue. He got a house, real small house. He bought the house for like, I think back in the day for like 80 some $1,000. The most they offer him now is $150,000 for his house. And I'm like, dude, if you hold out, you probably get 300,000 for this house. That's what his neighbor said. His neighbor bought his house cash for 40,000. He put central air, fixed it up, and He said he tell everybody to call him. If you don't give me 300,000, I'm not selling. Cause he's right next to Hateville, which is the airport where Delta, all the
Hmm.
Delta employees are moving over there. All
Oh.
the Delta employees. And I'm talking about a lot of Delta employees when I did AAA, all of them are just buying a house over there for rent. They're gonna stay there and rent the rooms out and only rent one room out during the week and go home on the weekends.
Mm.
Yep. I've talked to a lot of people. I mean, my friends in real estate, and I told you I started doing investing in real estate. All we seeing, dude, there's literally no houses in the metro under $100,000.
That's
Anything under a
crazy.
100,000 is trash. You gotta fix it up. We bought a $80,000 house off of Jonesboro Road going down there by the airport. That house was 80,000 because it wasn't in the flood zone, but the city make the house be in the flood zone due to the fact that they rather flood that one area than to flood the park that they built over there that cost them, a couple of $1 million, or the high school that's next door to it's I'm like literally right across the street from his house. He has a high school over there. They rather flood that area, and when it get too bad, they gotta divert the water somewhere else.
Mm.
But they'll
So,
flood the high school football field or whatever, just to
mm.
avoid flooding the houses that are in that area.
But Sheed, how's the flood insurance? Because I know that in certain states, insurance companies are pulling out
Yeah,
because
he's
certain
Georgia's
states won't
good.
let them raise the insurance rates all that much. I think
Yeah,
yeah.
some
Florida,
companies
Florida is having that issue.
they
Georgia, I don't think you're having that issue right now,
Mm-mm.
because there aren't, like, even though they got hit with Hurricane Helene, that was closer to Florida and those parts of Georgia, but they still so you if you own a home, you are required to have flood insurance if you think you're gonna get any FEMA help. Just so you guys know, if you don't have flood insurance, private flood insurance, when it God forbid something natural disaster happens water wise, don't expect any money from FEMA. They're gonna say you didn't have insurance, you didn't have flood insurance. No, well FEMA's not helping you.
Yeah.
So the rates are going crazy. Um, but give me 1 second. My wife is sitting here blind. I'm picking her up from the train station.
Oh, you good?
Oh, shit. Hold on, she
Yeah.
calling me.
But all right, go ahead. Yeah, but I mean, even with y'all was saying earlier about the numbers about the black people and Margaret Singer when she was doing abortion. For one, it might be this generation with this whole new Plan B pill, but millennials, man, we've had more kids than any generation because our parents told us we don't do abortions. The numbers don't add up. My thing is, I think the government's been hiding a lot of these numbers. They don't want to give the true numbers of a lot of black people. They're just looking at the numbers of their people, and it's going down. I'm talking about the dwindling bad. Cause, dude, if you have to put Roe v. versus Wade overturned due to the fact that you're not having the kids, because this is the thing, a lot of people they talk about this at certain times when people have those abortions. It's a lot of black people in that room, but a lot of people come in that back door. I mean, I like I said, I did non-emergency. I will pick people up, drop them off to their doctor's appointment. I picked up people from nice areas in Buckhead. I picked up people from nice areas in Douglasville, Atlanta. They go to their appointments. I meet them. I bring them back home. And that's the thing. A lot of times you start looking, the smaller people within those companies, we can tell who are really doing what.
Yeah, I was living across the tracks in Douglasville, so I wasn't in the nice area.
Yeah. I mean, I've like I said, I've ventured all over, man. I did a lot of small jobs. I did triple A for a moment. And man,
Mm.
going out there, man, nice houses. Imagine just some of the people with the money and they just foolish, not putting gas in their car.
Hey, Alonzo,
Mm.
I got a weird question about the flood insurance and the prices for it going up.
Hmm.
Let's say a particular state were to mandate that everybody in the state who owns a home must have flood insurance.
They do.
Would the flood insurance rates go down in that particular state?
No.
Because I was thinking in my mind, kind of like betting. You know how sometimes you kind of adjust the odds in betting so that people
Right.
bet on the other side, so that you kind of balance your books a little bit, so that you ain't paying out too much, so that
Right.
one
Hmm.
side is really paying for the winnings of the other side.
Uh-huh.
I was thinking that the flood insurance could be something similar to that, because if you only
No.
have people in the flood prone areas getting that insurance, then how is the insurance company really, going to come out ahead on that if there is something that goes down?
So what happens is, so property and casualty insurance companies really don't make money. Okay. Um, Life insurance companies make money, but property and casualty insurance companies, they have super thin margins. They really don't make money. They're really just there to pool risk. Um, and so what happens is, they make money off of the people who, either don't put in claims or, put in claims that get denied, which is why a lot of the times insurance companies are looking for ways to not pay,
Hmm.
because they're, it affects their bottom line. Then you've got a lot of companies that are not mutual. So that makes things a lot more difficult, and that's why rates won't decrease, even though, like, there's a federal flood insurance program, right? And that's what ends up happening is most of the flood insurance is not backed by, State Farm is a mutual company, so that's a little different. But, Allstate, Geico, Liberty Mutual, these are all publicly traded companies. And they do not write the business, right? You don't know that as a consumer because on your paper it says, Geico flood insurance or Allstate flood insurance or whoever, right? But your flood insurance ain't covered by Geico. It's generally covered by the NFIP, National Flood Insurance Program,
Hmm.
right? So again, you're not going to know that because you're the consumer and I'm the insurance agent. I'm never going to tell you that. Obviously, I just told you that, but you know what I mean. Um, you know, your agent's never going to tell you, oh, yeah, no, we're not covering you. You're covered by the National Flood Insurance Program. So, you know, all those tax dollars that you're paying, that's part of what, some of that FICO tax is for.
Alonzo,
Right.
when you mention that, it kind of is giving me a little bit of 2008 financial crisis kind of vibes, because a lot of these banks were giving out these loans all willy nilly, but then what they would
The
do
ninja loan.
is sell that loan to Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac.
Right.
So they would make money on it, but then they would sell it, pass it off to somebody else, pass the risk off to somebody else. So basically, these
Yes.
insurance companies are passing the risk off to the federal government.
Yeah, well, the federal government is forcing them to give them the risk, right? They'll have independent channels, but they're not going to cover certain stuff because otherwise they'd go bankrupt because there would be so many claims they couldn't. That, for example, that's why Florida is being exited, right? Because you've got these wacky ass drivers and so on and so forth, and they can't afford these claims. They just can't. So they pull out of the state, right? Another state that's happened with is New York. New York is ironically enough, my resident state. But if you ask most financial professionals or insurance people, they fucking hate New York. You need to get back. They hate New York because New York has such strict regulations, right? So if you're in New York, your flood insurance is definitely not from, Geico or State Farm or whoever. It's the National Flood Insurance Program. And so that's where a lot of this taxation comes from. But I'll tell you who's paying that bill. Everybody with a 401k,
Mm.
everybody with an IRA. Why? Because and so all you see how all this shit is linked together, elbow connected to the arm bone, right? Because what you guys are doing is you're deferring taxes. Now, am I saying not to get a 401k? No, absolutely get a 401k up to the company match, not a dime more. But what you're doing is you're deferring taxes. So let's say your annual income is 100 grand a year, and you want to make your annual taxable income less, so you contribute 20 grand to the 401k. So now you're only paying income tax on 80 grand. Cool, but I think all three of us are at least 40, correct? So
Yeah.
if you look back the last 35 years, right? Tax rate has done what? Gone up. It hasn't gone down. The income tax rate. So with the national debt, and the debt clock is over like $6 trillion now, right? What do you think's going to happen in the next 20, 30, 40 years when we need our money? The taxes are going to be higher. So when you start to annuitize on these 401ks and IRAs that you saved all this tax money on 20, 30, 40 years ago, and the reason I'm saying 30, 40 is because none of us were born in 1967 or before. So full retirement age as of next year technically is supposed to go up to 70, because RMD is supposed to go to 75, right? So now you're going to have a situation where we're going to have to work longer and pay higher taxes on the money that we save, right?
But
And
then
because you pay income tax.
there's also something else I'm thinking about. And I forget the name of the libertarian who was making this point. He said illegal immigration is okay as long as you don't give them a legal pathway to become a citizen. Because if they're illegal, they can't draw on the government. They can't go and get Social Security. They can't go and get food stamps. They can't do this. They can't do that. They can't do the other. Once you give them a legal pathway, you're going to have to open up the benefits to them.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, oh, and I forgot to mention this. If an illegal person is getting a paycheck, they will have Social Security and taxes taken out, but they don't have the right to request a refund. So now you
What's
have
going
all
on?
these millions and millions of people who are coming into the country, and then you're going to let them or give them amnesty and allow them to become citizens. So they're going to be able
Right.
to drain the tax pool. And these are grown people. So they haven't been paying into Social Security. So that now that means they're going to be able to draw out on Social Security.
Security in 10 years. So they're
So
trying to speed that up because, sorry, go ahead.
so I think in the medium term, it might help because you'll have people paying into the system, but it's kind of short-sighted because in the long term, what's going to happen?
Well, here's the problem with even the medium term. Medium term. People are living longer, right? And so because people are living longer, what does that mean that they're doing? They're drawing money longer,
Yep.
right? And so because they're drawing money longer, there's kind of a double influx on the money that is available, right? Because like I said, my grandmother is 86. She's probably got at least another 20 years in her, right? And especially when we look at things like modern medicine, well, folks are just living longer, right? And modern medicine is just getting, especially in this country, more and more expensive, right? Most people, I was actually on a panel last night, and the guy was explaining, most of my Social Security, almost 100% of it is going to end up going to healthcare costs, right? And so, the healthcare folks, they'll have their yachts and stuff. But what happens to the regular American? And God forbid you get on Medicare or Medicaid, because you have to have, I think you can have what, $35 a month or something? Like, you can't have anything. And so we're in a position where the levy is already stressed, right? And like you said, I think it might have been a good idea for the short term, because you're figuring, well, these people are going to come, they're going to earn an income, they're going to contribute to the Social Security. The younger people aren't contributing to Social Security because they're learning all these tax loopholes and stuff. um, which is really why a lot of people are looking to close them. But another major issue that we have is we have all these fucking octogenarians as our politicians. These people do not care because they are set to die within the next 2 decades. Right? So they really don't care about what's going on, because in the next 2 decades, the three of us, we're still going to be here and kicking. And we're going to be at the point and age of where these guys are now. And we're going to be needing to draw off of stuff. Right? In the
Well,
next two
I think
decades.
you're wrong. I think it might be for the next 3 decades, because of some of them have just been almost vegetables being rolled around from one vote to another. So they'll just hook up
Okay.
an oxygen machine to them, keep their chest moving, and keep them as long as possible in there. They might even put them in a Ziploc bag to keep them from stinking.
Hey, you
Yeah.
know what? I cannot deny that. you know but those are some of the things I think that politically we have to look at, right? We had like Vivek Ramaswamy. Feel about him how you may, I'm just using him as an example of, we need younger blood in there, right? We can't keep voting these people who have been around since our parents were children. And yeah, I mean, we've got a couple of them. Well, we got AOC, but I didn't really, right? Because we also look at, and Andrew Cuomo put this the best. These are the same people who are telling you tax the rich, yet they're going to the Met Gala or the MoMA Art Gallery in a $80,000 dress, and they didn't pay for that, right? And the problem most Americans have to understand, and shout out to LJ from Savings Minus Debt, you have to start understanding the U.S. tax system and the U.S. tax code, right? One of the things that I recently learned about was something called a 412E, right? Or IRC 412E, Internal Revenue Code 412E, which again is life insurance, but it's retirement accounts through life insurance, because just like BOLI, bank owned life insurance, that's how banks create their retirement accounts, because you can cast it forward on your balance sheet. The number is never going to go down, it's only going to go up, and it's non taxable, right? And the tax code that every American is familiar with is IRC 401k. Everybody knows that Internal Revenue Code, right?
Yeah.
So
From police.
while everybody knows IRC 401k, we just know it as a 401k, but it's not a product, it's an Internal Revenue Code. Well,
Hmm.
and just so you know, Sheed, you mentioned uh the payroll tax. Well,
Yeah.
did you know that having a 401k and rolling it out to your employees is an employee benefit? So guess what? That's a tax deduction,
Deduction. Yep.
right? And so when we look at businesses paying their fair share, there's never going to be a possibility of that because they technically are paying their fair share because they get all these tax benefits. So that was part of my conundrum when looking at Kamala Harris's plans because she is offering tax benefits that may possibly benefit me. But I also look at the fact that just like they talk about the bill that Donald Trump somehow shut down, even though he wasn't in power. But he apparently called some people and shut it down. So I'm like, if he's that powerful out of office, why in the hell would he run for president when he could just call people and make things happen? But there was so much pork on that bill that it needed to get shut down. But now they can make him look like a villain,
Oh
right?
man, I'm real quick and say this. The point that they had it to where they was gonna be funneling Ukraine more money, and they were gonna be to an extent that they were gonna let so many migrants. I think what was it, 2,500 migrants a month into the country in that bill.
That's
I'm like,
ridiculous.
let alone the money that they were giving out, plus the amount of migrants they were having coming into the country. I'm like, dude, come on, man. Honestly, and that's the
But
thing,
hold
because
on,
Bernie
Sheed.
Sanders said that.
The money's not leaving the country. It's going to defense contractors and it's going to build American jobs.
Yeah,
So why are we paying the money out in the first place?
Mm.
but
They
all of it's
have
not going.
deserts and deserts, just acres of desert that are filled with warplanes.
Mm-hmm.
Out there in the Newport News area, I
Nevada.
think it is, or the Hampton Roads area, they have
Oh yeah.
ships that they've mothballed out there. They could give
Hmm.
them that equipment. Why does it have to be, oh yeah, we'll give them our current equipment and then build new equipment? The people who they're fighting against don't need, you don't need brand new equipment for them. You're
Nope.
not fighting
Well,
nation states.
And
well,
see, we
In
Squaw,
need
I'll
to
give
do
you a
that
Civilization,
reason,
anyway.
and you'll understand this. You remember Charlie Wilson's War? Not from the Gap Band.
Last name Wilson.
Yeah. But so Charlie Wilson's War, that got flipped on us. You think about it, the war with Afghanistan was due to Charlie Wilson's War, right? Because we gave them our money and our weapons and our training. And we then said, hey, Charlie Wilson needs to make this, couple of $1 billion in the 1980s while Afghanis were fighting against Russia and getting their ass kicked. Um, but it's the same thing again. History is repeating itself. Which the thing is, you know, as a warm-minded person myself, understanding, hey, if we really want to keep our 7 Series BMWs and our $7 lattes, we do have to go wage war on other countries, right? So you ask me, I'm a war-minded guy, but that's just me. Trump, we had no war under Trump, right? That's really why people don't like him, because there was no conflict, and with no conflict means that Sikorsky and Lockheed Martin cannot charge $1 bazillion for 20 airplanes.
Yep. Or make taxes. Taxes make more money.
Yeah.
And then
And that's
people
the
start to
major
thinking,
issue.
well, if there are no wars, well, maybe we could cut back on that military budget and put the money else.
Hey,
I ain't gonna
my
say no
thing
more.
is,
I don't want to get.
look, when they lost that 23 trillion dollars doing 9/11, that's all you need to know. 23
Yeah,
trillion dollars lost in
yeah,
a room that got hit by a rocket, let alone hit a plane.
right. Well,
You
that
had
was to
people.
triple the American economy.
Yep,
That's literally what that event was for.
yep.
You know.
And that was, and it's crazy that even though we say that 9/11, I mean, going into the 9/11 from Bush, and then we had Obama come in right when the '08 crash. Obama came in, so you seen a high deficit for Obama coming in office, and
Right.
then Trump coming out in 2020, you seen a high deficit for Trump. Everybody blame, oh well, Trump spent so much money going out, but you got to understand the last president, he's trying to cushion the blow over that disaster.
Yeah.
Obama sucked up the disaster from the housing market as a Democrat, and Obama, I mean, he
Trump.
sucked it up and dealt with it. Then Trump came in and he gave the blow to Biden, and Biden had to suck it up during the 19. So
Yeah, he did a bad job at that though.
yeah, man, horrible. And,
And
and it was no matter how he put it, it was a disaster. And then even like now, we got the migrant crisis. They spent so much money. I don't care who becomes president. They're gonna come in at the worst deficit. I think it's gonna be worse than the 19 crisis. Because you gotta understand, we had a lot of money in surplus we got rid of and gave it
right,
to the line. Then you have a lot of money going to different countries. And see, that's the one thing about Trump. Trump vetoed a lot of those money going to Africa, and everybody was like, "Oh, well, if he did it, Trump don't like Africa." Dude, it was seven. What was it? Seven countries that Obama put in play. That as soon as he got in office, seven countries in Africa are supposed to get $1 million apiece. So that was $7 million coming straight out of the deficit soon as he became president.
right,
I mean, just like money like that being spent for no reason. Why are we
right.
giving
Now,
all this money to other countries?
now that goes back to something else I was thinking about earlier. And a lot of the faces that we see, black faces in movies, music, and all these other areas, you're thinking, man, that's good. But then when you start scratching underneath the surface, they're not ADOS.
Nope.
Uh-uh.
And the thing is, and I'm going to say this, and it might be a little bit controversial, maybe, maybe not. We haven't had a black president.
Nope.
And if Kamala wins, we still won't have a black president.
And
Right.
Jesse Smollett is Kamala's cousin, right?
Cousin.
What? You know, I
Yep.
thought
Yeah,
that
you
she
didn't know
favored
that?
him somehow.
Yeah, they're apparently relatives. But, Barry Sortoro or, Obama is relatives with the Bushes.
Yeah, so
You
we've
know.
had, what is it? What the first Bush was, what was one term, second Bush 2 terms, and then the third Bush was another 2 terms. So, you know,
Yeah. Well, I was trying to get the fourth Bush in Jeb. I ain't even gonna hold you. So, but I'm a little wild there in terms of things. So, you know. But yeah, when you look at the climate overall, what you're saying is, again, to us, it's not that controversial. It's true, right? We haven't had a black president or an ADOS black president, right? We've had a melanated president, but we haven't had a black president, right? Because Obama was literally African American, right? His daddy was African. He's American, and his mom was American. So that's literally, African American. Um, so, again, these are all things that we have to look at. But at the end of the day, for Black Americans, if we really want some shit, we have to create a super PAC. There's no other way that we're going to get anything. And
And
we have to hold our dollar hostage.
eh, but that's the biggest issue where a lot of people we want things, but we don't want to put our money where our mouth is, and that goes all the way. I mean, Dr. Claude Anderson always preach on this. We got our celebrities that don't want to do things, but then as a people, we can't get together. I mean, now the truth finally came out about that whole coalition between the record labels, and it was Suge Knight who funded it. Honestly, I was shocked. I thought it came from Dame, but Suge Knight was the one who funded this whole thing to make it be about to where all the companies, give a percentage, and they were able because before the streaming and all that stuff, should if they cut that deal and got a distribution deal, you know how much money it would have came into the industry, and they wasn't just dealing with their labels, they was gonna do that for every rapper or singer, pop, rock, anything within the industry to make
Hmm.
money, and that would have bankrupt some of these small companies, but the big ones, Sony and stuff, it would have took a lot more to outdo them, and they would have came in and did the Diddy deal before they
Yeah,
went down. They would have just arrested you and found something on you. They had
exactly.
they had investigators on Diddy once he sued that liquor company. They found
Yeah.
investigators and put it on him. That's why this whole thing came about.
Mm. They're gonna find something on you if
Yeah.
you mess up their dollar.
Yep.
You threaten their dollar, oh yeah, you got a problem. We got issues, homie. You screwing my Monet.
Yep. Larger than life. And then I mean, even to the point I've been seeing videos where, like, I seen this one video where Diddy even said they get your kids out of here. He's like, my kids in the house, they locked up, they upstairs, they not gonna see none of this. So anything that, I mean, a man having sex, I don't see no need for that. But everything that they're accusing him of, now that's wrong. I blatantly
Right.
say that's wrong. All the underage and all this other stuff, but the whole mansion came from Hugh Hefner. That was
Right.
his will and dealings. That was his man cave. That was he wasn't in question. Everything was in question after he passed. But
Yeah.
before, he was the gigolo. He was the guy to
Well, you
go
gotta
to.
remember, a lot of these people were always at the Playboy Grotto,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the
Exactly.
grotto was something that everybody went to.
Yep.
That's why it's famous.
Yep.
Everybody talks about the grotto,
Yep.
right? So yeah, folks was there.
Yeah, man. So when it comes down to it, I mean, a lot of this situation evolving into politics, the money, like I said, a lot of people are not watching this stuff because they only think we should be giving stuff. I mean, like I even said, I think the numbers are skewed on the population within the black culture in America because you got to understand, if we start getting ahead in the dominance role and we start getting the numbers, what are we going to do? We're going to start popping babies out like crazy. All we got to do is just get together and say, well, look, we ain't got no money, but we can have some kids.
Yeah.
But
Next thing
hence
you
that
know,
13% though. So
exactly.
the largest growing demographic.
Aren't we at
So
15% now? You
originally
still at 13.
it's still 13. So
Jesus Christ.
originally, who was the majority? It was the whites,
Hmm.
and then the second largest segment of the population was the black population. Then you have, by 20 whatever, the Hispanics are going to outpace are going to be the majority.
Yeah. Right now they're
So that
second.
that moves us
They're
from
a
second to
higher
third.
percentage than blacks.
Yeah, so
Yep.
that basically moves us into third place.
Mm.
So with that, so the populations are been growing. I'm not saying that the black population have been stagnant, but it's the inflow of these external factors,
Right.
and plus a little bit of abortion. Even though the black population has been growing, it's been kept at a certain ratio of the overall population.
Right.
So you can't really exercise the leverage. Yeah, it's been growing, it's been progressing, but as a ratio or as a percentage of the total population, it's just been being kept in check, or even worse, being kind of put down because other populations are outpacing.
Yeah.
Right. Very much so. Outpacing us.
And it's getting to a point, man. For long, I mean, you got the Venezuela. Like I literally seen they had a video showing, I think it was $50 or $100 in Venezuela money in a barrel that they threw in there for trash. Like they were doing like one of those donation deals to where if you come in, if you take all your old money that's worthless, we'll give you $10 for it. Because they
Man,
had to burn it, get it out of circulation. Like, you know, everything is $10,000, $100,000, and you coming in there with $5 Venezuelan money or $10, it makes no sense. You got to get
man,
so much money just to, I mean, $20,000. I mean, logically, let's just say $5,000 for a loaf of bread,
yeah, that's
and
ridiculous.
you have $50 and $5. You know how much money it's going to take you to get $5,000 in their money off of five
Man,
dollar bills. So I mean, just best way to do it is take the money and burn it. I mean, they had it to where a lot of their money was so bad they throw it in the street, let it
yeah,
wash down. The streets were full of their money because I mean the inflation. I mean, America, if we didn't have a lot of things in position, we'll be just like them. The American
very
dollar
true.
won't be anything.
I'm kind
Very
of
true.
reminded. I think it was probably last year on a panel. Uh, we had gone into showing housing prices
Mm-hmm.
back 120 years ago or 100 years ago,
Yeah.
and you could get a house, a two-story house, for like $5,000.
Yep.
So, and I think we were talking about one of the little rascals was getting paid a certain amount of money per week when he was doing the show. I think uh, Alfalfa, not Alfalfa, it was Buckwheat. Buckwheat
Buckwheat.
was actually
Mm,
one of the highest paid little rascals on that show. And he was basically getting paid a brand new car every week as far as the money went. But if you start doing the math on inflation and inflation and inflation, the dollar has really lost a lot of its value. So you go
oh
Yes.
from $5,000
yeah,
in some areas to $500,000.
yeah.
That's a whole lot of value loss in the money.
And
It's almost
then
like
what
a
has
90%
also happened was incomes have not kept pace with inflation. I was actually having this conversation with a landlord of mine in Brooklyn, and he was explaining. He was like, "Man, listen, he had a brownstone that I had been renting from him, um, that was worth a couple of $1 million. When he purchased it in the 1980s, it cost him $84,000.
Hmm.
As of 2012, he could have sold that house in the condition it was in, and it needed some work for about $2 million, right? So you look at that, and it's like, well, damn. And he said, now here's the thing, I was making back when I was working at a grocery store and putting myself through college, I was making like $3 an hour, right? He said, meanwhile, today you can't work an hour and buy a gallon of milk,
Yep.
which is fucked up. It's sad but true.
And here's the other
Mhm.
thing too. People are asking, well, yeah, we need the immigrants because of the growth rate, because of the growth rate, because we're not having enough people in the country. People aren't having enough children in order to keep our population at a certain level. That's why we need the immigrants.
Right.
So back in the 1950s and 1960s, a single man could support, or one man could support an entire family on his income. And then all of a sudden, you had women entering the workforce, and now you have to have two incomes in order to support a household.
But that
But
was
Right.
that was
then
the rock.
the pandemic, a lot of people are saying nobody wants to work. Nobody wants to work. Maybe they don't want to work for the amount of money that's being offered. But then you have an influx of migrants coming across the border, which would depress wages even further, forcing the hand of these people who don't want to work for this amount of money to work for that amount of money. Otherwise, you're not going to have any other options.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
Well,
that's
it's
a
I
just
mean,
real
like the whole
deal right
ghost
there.
jobs thing, right? So the whole ghost jobs thing. If you go online and look for a job, you'll find all these jobs, right? You put in 700 applications and you might get 2 interviews and you never get hired because they're not actually hiring. What they're trying to do is make the current workforce fearful for their job. Hey guys,
yep.
you see, we're bringing people in for interviews. You better be worried about your job. And
Morale.
yeah, they're really not hiring, right?
But you
So
also have to make
now
the
they're trying to
investors
make
think that
people
you're,
work harder. Yeah, work
but you
harder for
also
these.
want your investors and your competition to think that you're still growing. That's why you're hiring people, because you're still growing.
Oh,
Yep.
now
Now,
that
if you're not
I didn't even
hiring,
look
now
at.
that sends certain signals if you're not hiring.
Yeah, that you're stagnant. Oh, we're not growing. Oh, you're not growing, huh? Okay, so then we'll just come and offer to buy you out.
Yep. Morale of the company. And
Yeah.
it's a shady thing that a lot of these companies are doing that now. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, to the point you got companies, and I seen this post on Instagram say that you will hire a new employee at 20% more than giving
And
a
your
old
current
employee
employer, yeah.
20%. Yeah. And I mean, the companies are doing it every day. You got to train this guy, even though they might be a seasoned employee. They got to be trained to your company in the way you move in your position. I mean, that was the thing when I got this job here. I had to be trained their way, which was easy. I mean, my job is relatively easy, man. Honestly, only reason I stay here because I'm complacent and I got something else that's bringing other income. I wouldn't stay here if this was the only income with me. I wouldn't stay here full time, but it's so easy and complacent. That's the only reason I'm still here. But now I've just, got to the point where I just need to make more money and I'm just gonna leave here. But at the same time, I still got another job on standby. I still got work that I do on the side that I can honestly keep making money. It just come to a point where the road meets the pavement to where do I want to actually grow more? Because like I said, I was looking at the research. Getting another job every 3 to 5 years, you'll keep up with inflation. These
Yeah,
20 years tenured senior guys who've been at companies for 30 years, man, they're not keeping up with inflation. Unless you at a commission job to where you get paid by you work, that's the only way. Other than that, man, at a regular salary job, if I'm at a job for 20 years, like I said, the guy who worked at I think he worked at Circle K. This guy worked at Circle K for 20 years. He got an email from the president saying, nice job. Yeah, he's a shift manager, but 20 years from being a cashier, taking up trash, and shift manager, and you still taking out trash and the cashier. So, like, where's the growth? Where's the money?
yeah,
You you should have been in a corporate position by now. At
And he
20
probably had
years
to train his
senior.
higher up too, because that's
Yep.
oh,
one of the
so
things
many
I
times.
never understand. Okay, so you have somebody who's working inside of a factory. Then you have somebody who comes out of college. That person who's been working at that factory for 15 years has to train the snot-nosed kid to do to do the job, right? So
Hmm.
doesn't
Yep.
that mean that that person who's been working in that factory for 15 years has the knowledge to do that job that you're having this college
Yeah,
Exactly.
student come in to do?
Hmm. That's like those what's it Instagram post with that lady. It's like skits where the lady be like, my name is Vicky. And she was like, yeah, Vicky, we got this new person coming in. We know you've been holding the position down for the manager, but we hired somebody and I think they're a little more qualified. And she was like,
yeah,
the position that I've been doing for the last 6 months when you ain't had nobody in a position that's been doing good. She was like, yeah, I want you to train that person. She was like, no. Well, we kind of think you'll be a team player and do it. She was like, no. If you're not going to give me the position, why would I train somebody to take the position? You train them.
exactly.
And the lady was like, well, I don't get it. I thought you was a team player. She said, yeah. When I was in a position thinking that I'm gonna get this position, but now that I'm not getting this position, why train someone to take this position? That's your job.
Exactly.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. But yeah, I'm about to go ahead and jump off here, guys. Getting on 3 hours.
And
Yeah.
Rashid, before you leave, I'm going to say this. People say that there's no I in team, but there is the
Hmm.
way I spell it because I have dyslexia.
I tell you, like Kobe Bryant said, ain't no iron team, but there sure enough is a me in that motherfucker.
Yeah.
So, you know. But yeah, you know my words, man. Wipe ass, work in progress every day and see success. And when people challenge you, they don't challenge you to challenge you, but they challenge you to challenge you. Accept the challenge. Salute. Good looking, bro.
Yep. Yep.
And I almost forgot. I was about to say peace, but if there's anybody out there and whoever's listening and you're not subscribed to Sheed's channel, go on ahead and do it and get this brother up to 1,000.
Hey,
Yeah, for real.
appreciate you.
All right. Y'all have a good night and peace.
Peace.
Peace. You know what I always say when I get off of here? We here, and we gone. Appreciate the dialogue. Appreciate the intellect. Hey, let's keep this discussion going on.